All right. Hello, YouTube. Welcome to episode 13 of Geekery Abides.
Lucky number 13.
Indeed. Let me make sure I actually have my Geekery Abides stuff open. That would help. But yeah, let's hit the intro and get started. And we'll do the announcements on the other side so the podcast people can hear it too.
He who is ashamed of his geekery has forgotten the face of Stan Lee.
You the proud, the geeky.
This is the podcast, Geekery Abides.
Hello, and welcome to episode 13 of Geekery Abides. My name is Tad, and with me as always is Peter. Both rocking our respective superheroes here. We are here for episode 13, which we have titled Superman and Batman. No verses here. Very distinct thing to not put verses in the title there. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump on in. Sorry, we're a tiny bit late, couple minutes late. The last episode, Dark Tower Palaver, went longer than usual. We had a lot to cover. So it's the first time it's been any kind of issue, but I think we mostly started on time for the most part. Yeah, let's go ahead and jump on over first of all to the emails. If you would like to email the show, you can do that. Email either of us directly because we alternate back and forth on these episodes in terms of production. I am producing this episode. I do the odd ones. Some say I am a little odd. And Peter does the evens. If you want to have any feedback on previous episodes, ideas for new episodes, or if you have something that you want to spring on us, if you wanted to surprise something on me, send it to Peter. If you want to surprise Peter, something to me, whatever. But either way, both of us have emails. You can either send an email over to Peter at geekeryabides.com or to me, Tad, T-A-D-D, at geekeryabides.com. I know I've had a couple emails. Have you had any emails yet?
Nothing.
Okay.
Nobody likes me.
If nothing else, maybe just send Peter some emojis.
Don't do that.
All right. So I guess if you're following us from the Dark Tower Palaver side, you know Peter's hatred for emojis. But if you're only listening to this show, you may not know that Peter does hate emojis in general. As a general principle, he dislikes them.
I don't hate emojis. I hate the Emoji Movie, which just
and that's now spread into emoji hatred.
Yeah.
So we got Mike and Carol in the chat. Welcome, both of you guys. Thank you for joining us. We'll probably have a few more people according to the chat counter from YouTube. All right. So next up, what have you been watching, reading, playing? Peter, what do you got here for watching, reading, playing?
not much.
No?
It's been a quiet couple weeks. Finished Secret Invasion. Watched the finale for that yesterday. Been watching a little bit of Futurama with my wife here and there. She got really into a new show, so it's kind of taken her attention elsewhere. So
I mean, Oppenheimer.
That was last episode.
You watched Oppenheimer.
That was last episode.
It was last week.
Wasn't it?
No. It's last week. This is only week 2.
Oh, I had Oppenheimer written down and I deleted it. I was like, oh, that was last episode.
No,
that was, yeah. Okay, so yeah, we did see Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
It was an explosive good time.
It was great. Wonderful movie.
Yeah.
I mean, Secret Invasion I share with you on the, at least watch. I guess we can move into reading and playing as well. Then, yeah, Secret Invasion, Oppenheimer, I went and saw that again yesterday.
How was it a second time?
It was great. It was
even more.
Nothing has changed. I guess I haven't said it on the episode because it wasn't out last time, but I will say I believe it is Christopher Nolan's best movie. I believe it has dethroned Inception and Interstellar, which are probably my top 2 Nolan films. Oppenheimer is now number 1. The movie is absolutely incredible. Walking away the second time, I will say I think what you said outside the theater might be true. I believe some Oscar nods are in the offing. I think Robert Downey Jr., Cillian Murphy, and the film itself, and Nolan as a director might all have some nominations coming their way, and it might be a hard movie to beat for at least the 2 actor roles. Obviously, getting into Best Picture and Best Director, that gets a little bit tough.
Yeah.
But it's an incredible movie. So, what about reading and playing? I guess I cut you off.
Yeah, I finished Full Dark No Stars.
Okay.
Novella series, 4-pack from Stephen King. Came out in 2010, I believe, is what I saw when I looked it up. 1922, Big Driver. Oh, I forgot the other 2.
Is there only a couple then?
There's 4.
It's not like a 20 short story.
No, it's 4.
Okay.
It's 4 novellas.
Okay,
is what that one is. There's I'm trying to remember the other 2. I'm really drawing a blank. Fair Extension and A Good Marriage.
Okay.
All 4 of them were really great stories. 1922 was made into a movie. Netflix. Yeah.
Movie, yep.
So now I got to go watch that sometime. I have so much to watch, and I'm gearing up for Ahsoka. I am so excited for that. Playing, I'm still just playing 7 Days to Die. I came up with a new way to make the game a little bit more interesting than previous. I mean, because I've played this game for years now.
Yeah.
Me and my wife helped me develop a new way of playing, which is just I'm all about it. So it's a lot of fun. Mike says Ahsoka.
He says woohoo Ahsoka. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Mike also says that
woo Ahsoka.
Mike says he's playing Jedi Survivor, reading Legends Thrawn trilogy, and finished Star Wars Rebels. So a whole lot of Star Wars for Mike there.
That's great. Grand Admiral Thrawn, man. Probably a top 5 Star Wars character for me. All told, I love Grand Admiral Thrawn. He's so awesome. He's so great.
What about you for reading and watching?
So reading, I've been reading some Superman comics with my DC app.
Mm-hmm.
That's been a lot of fun. Just cool to just dive into different series of the characters. Some character that's got closer to 90 years worth of material. It's rough, and it's rough to just figure out what to read. But not only that, but it's not even just he's been in Action Comics since 1930, whatever. There's also multiple Superman lines as well. So it's there's actually a Superman comic book, and there's all as well as Action Comics. So there's a lot to read, but I've been enjoying that. I did finish The Stand, my annual Stand reread. And then I just started the book American Prometheus, which turns out is the inspiration for Oppenheimer. That is the book that Nolan read and adapted into the movie Oppenheimer. So reading that right now. And then playing, I have dove back into replaying Ghost Recon Wildlands.
It's a good game.
It is.
It's a fun game. We have a lot of fun times in that game.
Yeah, indeed. And then I also have been playing around with Epic Battle Simulator 2. I just bought that.
Yeah.
So played around with that a little bit.
It just released.
Yeah, just released a year ago.
Yeah.
So, but I just bought it, and that's been a lot of fun. It's one where you can just set up things like all kinds of crazy
10,000
stuff.
chickens versus 100 GIs from World War II.
Yeah.
Which you told me about.
I did 100,000 chickens.
100,000
I wanted to make it fair.
Tell them about the chicken thing, though.
Yeah, but in the first one, the chickens just ran at people to peck them. And so, I think in the first game, I did 1 million chickens versus, I think 10 guys, World War II soldiers.
Yeah.
And there wasn't a single soldier killed. They just massacred 1 million chickens. It was incredible. But this one, I set it up. I don't know why I only started at 100,000, but I did 100,000 of them. They actually wiped the humans out because they got within a certain range of them, stopped, turned around, pointed their asses, and started shooting eggs at the people. And it destroyed those 10 men.
It's still funny. The first time you told me, I chuckled, but this time, the more and more I thought about it, they shot eggs at him.
Some long distance chickenry. Yeah, that's what I've been up to recently. So.
Carol says, watching Futurama, reading still Fairy Tale, and playing people raging at failed only up runs. Oh
God,
dude, Tad lives for those.
So funny. Yeah,
that's so funny.
Those are incredible. Every time I come across one, I watch it because it's just.
You sent me one where a guy just trashes his room.
He's like a streamer. He had
everything.
He had a whole streaming setup. I think what did it say? He was 20, 30 hours in or something.
Yeah, he was hours into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It not even hours. It was days.
Yeah.
I think he was.
Oh, it was closer.
Days.
It was closer. Yeah.
He
was on his way to getting his second day.
Yeah.
And so yeah. Yeah.
It's wonderful. All right, so moving over to the news. The first one, The Exorcist Believer, dropped its trailer with Oppenheimer.
Dude, caught us so off guard.
It was so they had released posters and stuff, so I suspected a trailer would be coming, but I was like, "There's no way they're going to release it with Oppenheimer. It'll be next week with the Hand movie, the horror movie that comes out this week. It's the Talk to Me.
Talk to me. I keep wanting to say Taking Lives for some reason. That's not right.
So we went into Oppenheimer, and this trailer starts playing, and I'm like, God, that kind of looks like Leslie Odom.
And then the first Tubular Bells.
And it played only a couple notes, like 2 or 3 notes of Tubular Bells.
Both of me and you were like, oh, dude.
And I was like, they're dropping a secret trailer on us.
Yeah.
And it didn't drop until the following Tuesday after Oppenheimer, which is this last Tuesday, which means it is available online now to go watch the trailer. I was very happy to see it.
It looks so good.
I can't wait to see it. Next bit of news, somewhat related. The Exorcist, Exorcist Deceiver, a sequel to Believer, is already in the works, and with a release date set for April 18th, 2025.
They know it's going to be good, don't they?
I mean, yes. I also wonder about putting a date. I know that's a date 2 years from now, but with the writers and actors on strike right now, I guess there's hopeful thinking that they are going to get this resolved and be able to make a movie in that time period. So, can't wait for that, though. Next one, not necessarily a happy thing, but also strike related. There has been a rumor, and this is just a rumor, that they may be delaying Dune 2 to 2024.
No.
Because now with SAG-AFTRA on strike, they will have nobody to do publicity, all the talk shows, and everything they do,
even like the red carpet and stuff like that. That's press for it,
everything.
right? Everything
that you do for press, the SAG-AFTRA will not do. So there is, and nothing's been announced. This is 100% rumor and speculation. But there's some speculation that some of these bigger movies that really need money, because they're expensive fucking movies, that the studio might go, well, we're going to lose almost our entire marketing, so let's just pull it and move it. So who knows? We'll see, but I hope not.
Carol's upset about that one. She said, hell no.
Yeah, I hope it's not true, but that's some of the rumors that's going on, which I can understand totally. And that's the only reason I'm even talking about it, because it is just a rumor, is because logically it makes sense. Because, if you don't have any publicity, you don't want to roll the dice on them. I mean, no. I know it's got a great director everyone loves. Yeah. People already saw the first one, but it's like you still need all that marketing. So
Carol says, but I want to see it during Christmas.
Yeah, I'm really hoping it turns out that they just decide to release it anyway, because I want to see it. It looks incredible.
With it being a sequel, I kind of hope that, like you said, I hope that carries it over.
It can carry over enough that they can just.
The problem is it also kind of. It kind of ticks me off if they do release it, because that kind of screws over some of these actors that are coming into the series that are gonna, this is their first time and they don't get to do any press for it.
Yeah,
they don't get that moment in the spotlight on the late night or any of those shows, to talk about it, or the Graham Norton show, and everything. That's kind of sad for those guys.
That's a great one, isn't it?
I love the Graham Norton
Every
show.
time there's clips I watch. I feel like that's that and Conan are my two favorites.
Mike says Dune isn't a new IP. They don't need the full court press, which is true.
Yeah,
I mean, it's been around for decades. So,
and it is just a rumor. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Yeah. But that's at least an idea out there that
hopefully they just get this shit figured out in the next week or so. Come on, pay them.
Yeah, exactly.
You need to pay the workers. Come on.
Yeah,
and not any of this bullshit that I'm hearing about. I don't know if it's true. So take it with a grain of salt. I don't read news articles. I read headlines. I'm one of those bad ones like that. Tad is the source of most 90% of my news. I read something that the first actor's offer from the other side was that background characters would be paid for 1 day, and then they could be used AI generated,
in perpetuity forever.
In perpetuity forever. That's the right way of putting it.
Yeah.
That's such bullshit, dude.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's such a crock of shit.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. So that's a bummer. Speaking of bummers.
Oh no, no more bummers, Tad.
So the former head of Warner Brothers DC
got replaced by James Gunn, right?
Has been replaced by James Gunn. Said that if things had gone well financially, their plans were Michael Keaton to be the Nick Fury of the DCEU. That he would have been kind of the sinew that started to tie everything together more heavily. So I mean, that's a bummer because I love Michael Keaton, and I would love to see more of him in the Batman role somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's in the cards at this point, but at the same time, with the quality of some of the movies they put out, maybe it's for the better to not go that route.
Yeah.
But that is a bummer to hear for sure.
It is for sure. Dollars in Keaton's eyes there is what Mike says. Yeah, he would have made some money.
Yeah, indeed. So next up, we actually guard your wallet, sir. We have a McFarlane Toys is releasing a Batman live-action box set. I actually have a slide. So it's a live-action box set for the live-action Batmans.
Whoa.
It has 6 of the 7 live-action Batmans because they are ignoring Adam West, apparently, because he did make a movie. Everyone loves to just ignore the fact that the movie was made in, I can't remember what year, 60-something. But yes, most people would probably say from Keaton on is what most people accept as the live-action Batmans. But yes, they all look pretty cool. They're 7-inch scale, so they're good size figures. Like I said, guard your wallet, sir. It's pretty fucking cool.
Do we have a price?
I don't know, actually. I think I was looking, but I'm not sure. I think I clicked on something for pre-order, but it was showing not available at the time, so I don't know if it was too early and it wasn't showing yet. But yeah, that's fun.
That's amazing.
Next up, the first. I'm sorry. Did I forget something? Yes, I did. I jumped over a couple, actually, so let me go back to it. Mask of the Phantasm is coming to 4K for the 30-year anniversary, which is this year.
Yes!
So 4K release coming September 12th for a lot of Batman news.
Excellent. I wonder why.
No, I mean, I don't make the news, sir. I'm not, like, searching out Batman news just for this episode. It was just happened to be what was popping up.
I was hinting at the fact that Batman is far superior.
Foolish,
right, not debate. Not debate.
Foolish child.
Not debate.
Next up, there is apparently a deleted scene that has been released that from The Flash that explains why Keaton's Batman has retired. And it is fairly dark.
Oh boy.
So the Barry of that, so it's when they're in the plane going toward the end. You got 2 Barrys in the back seat, and they're chatting back and forth. Because the one Barry is from that Batman's world.
Yeah.
And he says that he heard, basically, so it's kind of somewhat subjective up in the air whether it's even true, but he says that he heard that Batman retired because he actually killed a person and did it in front of the guy's kid. Which obviously would be a mindfuck for Batman.
Well, I mean, not that Batman. That Batman kills everyone all the time.
Killing someone in front of their kid?
In front of their kid, yeah. I mean, that's
the kicker, where it's like for a kid that's parents were killed in front of him, that would probably be massive fuck. But yes, you're right. Michael Keaton's Batman gives no fucks about killing.
He kills everyone.
He takes some relish in his murders. It seems
it took a little bit of digging, but that 6 Batman figure set is $120.
It's not too bad for
on a Target best pre-order.
Yeah, so the link I found was sending to Amazon. It said not available for pre-order right now or something.
It had on McFarlane's website. It had a bunch of different websites where you could go to pre-order it. Amazon didn't have a price, but I clicked on Target, and Target says $119.99.
And that's not bad. That's for 6 figures. That's $20. Like that's what you pay for it. That's what you pay for a figure like that. For like the Star Wars 6-inch scale figures, which are the ones I like. Those are about $20, so not bad.
Is that your Thrawn up there, 6 inches?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So it'd be a little bit bigger than that, like an inch bigger than
you
that.
You can see his boots. It's right there in the top right of Tad's camera. That's Thrawn.
I guess I could always move things around for the show and show off some of the other nerdy stuff. But that's that like I said, pretty dark from the deleted scene. It is a deleted scene, so it's not canon, but pretty interesting for sure.
That's different than the reason he gives to Flash in the kitchen. He says that he tells him that like the crime's at an all-time low, and Gotham's one of the safest the safest city on the planet. And it's like, oh, he won the war on crime.
Yeah.
Maybe he won the war on crime in a way that scars him and the child.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, damn.
So next up, Mortal Kombat 1, the video game coming out on my birthday, has announced,
and one of your all-time favorites too. Let's
game.
say that
they have announced their first downloadable content pack. The ones I wanted to point out were the guest characters that
Yeah.
are coming in. Peacemaker from the DC universe. Omni-Man, which I don't know who he is. I've heard the name.
It's from
but...
a Amazon Prime series, Invincible.
Okay. Yeah. And then the big one is Homelander.
Oh.
So that's interesting. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. I can't wait to see what some fatalities
Which is
look like.
basically Superman.
Yeah.
He has all of Superman's power except for one. Can you name the one power he doesn't have?
Being a good person. Does he have less calcium in his diet, so he needs some milk?
Oh, God.
I don't think he has the freeze breath.
That's it.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen him use that. So, well, you don't like the milk references, sir?
My wife said that's fucked.
No, that was about Batman. I saw that one
about
earlier.
Batman.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Keaton stuff. Yeah,
I think it goes hand in hand with what you said about Homelander.
that's true too. Next up, the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoons rights have been acquired by Nickelodeon. No indication now that it'll ever be on streaming, but I do know that Nickelodeon is owned by Paramount. So
Yes.
down the road a ways, maybe.
Which is
Paramount
funny 'cause-
Plus might get Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
Right now they're saying it's only on Nickelodeon, but I have the box set, so I don't really care much.
Yeah.
But it would be really cool because I think a lot of people, nostalgic like us, can go watch it. But I think a lot of young people could probably watch that series. I bet you it still stands up today.
I would absolutely watch that series with my daughter. She loves turtles.
I mean,
We're gonna go see.
turtles are awesome.
We're gonna go see Mutant Mayhem together, just the two of us.
Turtles are always awesome. All right.
like turtles.
Next up, we have Return of the Living Dead is being remade.
Is it really?
Yes. So, my initial.
Wait, which one's Return of the Living Dead? There's too many dead movies.
Yeah, this is the non-Romero stuff. This is the one with the one they actually are going after brains.
Oh. I haven't seen this one.
Classic. I love this one a lot. So let me read this quote because my first impression is like horror movie remake. It's a 50-50 shot. But this quote here, it says, our reboot of Return of the Living Dead will expand on the existing world created by the original 5 films while staying true to the R-rated sci-fi horror dark comedy roots adored by fans and the cult classic around the world for the last 35 years. Saying the right things.
Return of the 5 films. So there was 5 Return of the Living Dead.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So that should be fun. I'm open-minded for sure. Next
Zombies,
up,
sign me up.
yeah, exactly. Next up, news: Donald Glover is apparently now going to be a co-writer on the upcoming Lando show for Disney Plus. Obviously,
Okay.
he was the star, but now it sounds like he is moving into a co-writing role as well once writing can be done again. So, oh, I can't wait to see more Lando.
I should get that as a button.
They should that would be actually a good soundbite.
Yeah.
They should actually bring Billy D in some way. Do like maybe he's telling stories or every once in a while you flash forward or something. Just we need to have Billy D involved. If you're
Billy D.
If you're doing a Lando show, you got to have Billy D. Spencer pops in, says hello everyone, playing Spider-Man remastered and Only Up, which we actually talked about a little bit. Sounds like a very frustrating game to me.
I would never play it.
A younger me probably, but now I'm too old for that kind of shit.
I ain't got time for this shit.
I feel like my blood pressure would go up just thinking about playing that game. Then he says reading, listening to the Dark Tower series, and rewatching Breaking Bad. That is awesome.
Wait, is that you or Spencer?
Spencer.
Because it sounds an awful lot like something you would do.
It does actually, indeed. And later on this year, I will be reading the Dark Tower.
And you just played Spider-Man.
Yeah, I'm like 97%. I literally just have like the last couple things to beat on it to 100% it again,
Yeah.
which would be my 3rd or 4th time 100%ing it.
Such a good game.
It is really. It's a masterpiece.
Spencer says Only Up is extremely frustrating.
Yes, I can imagine. Next up, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem sequel and spin-off series are already in the works.
Yeah.
So sounds like they are confident that they are going to be getting a good result out of this here. Yeah, I'm down. And then last bit of news here, Bruce Lee's Enter the Dragon is hitting theaters for the 50-year anniversary this year. If you want to go see Enter the Dragon on the big screen, it'll be on in select theaters Sunday, August 13th and Wednesday, August 16th. So
Nice.
check your local theaters and see who might be doing that. I know generally in Utah, AMC tends to play these more, like the Phantom Events type stuff. But that is who's doing it is Phantom Events. So if you have a theater you know around you that does those, check it out if you want to go see Enter the Dragon for its 50-year anniversary.
It's one of his best.
That is actually what sparked me hoping that The Exorcist also is sharing a 50-year anniversary this year, 1973. So I'm hoping that the original Exorcist gets a theatrical
Oh, if it does, we're going.
Oh,
right?
we have to.
Like with Hayden, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I know Hayden will protest.
No, I'm washing my hair that day.
He will protest, but I assure you, we will get him there. All right, so this is an interesting one. So this isn't a traditional closing argument, but it's something I found online that I wanted to run by you. So I'm going to say it's kind of like in the vein of closing argument, but I don't know if we'll count it in the record. So this is I found this on Reddit, and it's one of those who would win subreddits.
Oh, okay.
So the title is Batman's enemies have to take turns babysitting a child. Who does the best and worst jobs doing so? We're going to talk about best.
Okay.
Worst, I think that I guess that could even be debatable. Who would do the worst?
I know who would be the worst.
It says each one of Batman's rogues gallery, Joker, Harley Quinn, Poison Ivy, etc. members have to take turns babysitting an 8-year-old kid. So much hijinks at that age.
So I was picturing a toddler.
They're
like an infant. I mean,
they are not allowed to physically or mentally harm them, nor are they allowed to traumatize them. Only positive vibes, if that's even possible. If they quit, they fail the challenge. So that's because again, they're taking care of it. So it's not like just kill the kid if it's certain characters.
So
who do you put in that spot? Who would you put your money on if you had to put a bet on this of the rogues gallery? Who's going to actually be able to not throw their hands up and give up and just walk out, or traumatize, kill, or hurt the child mentally or physically? That's a tough one.
I mean, if you okay, so if we're talking rogues gallery, that excludes the mobsters, because I would pick any one of those mobsters over any of the rogues gallery. Carmine Falcone's a father. He'd be able to put a kid in a room and obviously not talk about family business or do anything with him and keep him entertained for a day.
Yeah.
How long was it for?
Has to take turns babysitting.
So you
it doesn't really say. It doesn't really say.
So let's say it's a day.
Yeah,
right?
I'd say
24 hours, right? Carmine Falcone could easily, he has a guest room. Kid could go there, go swimming, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But let's say rogues gallery, right? Let's not cheat the question here, Peter. Let's do a real rogues gallery. I gotta say that if you're not allowed to harm or emotionally actually do anything to him,
it's not Joker. We know that.
It's no, Joker would absolutely break and would have to do something to the kid because that's just
or
who
just
he is.
give up. Like if he's completely held to the point where he knows he can't do it, he would just give up and walk out. He'd be like, screw this. This isn't fun. And I'm trying not to be too dark with this, but because Batman's.
I gotta say, Mr. Freeze.
Okay.
If we're doing Mr. Freeze from the animated series or the more common Mr. Freeze now. The original Mr. Freeze was a normal villain that uses a freeze gun. But the tragic villain Mr. Freeze is really more of kind of not even a villain, kind of like he's a tragic villain.
Yeah.
That's the way to put it. And I think that out of respect for Nora, he would, oh my God, I have a child, kind of thing. Like if he was put in charge of a kid, that's the next. If him and Nora got cured, that's the next step is have a kid.
Yeah. They're
They're married. They're gonna want children. They're gonna. So yeah, I think Freeze would do the best. Okay. I think he would do everything in his power to protect the kid if anyone was coming after him, but just being able to take care of the kid, Freeze.
You mentioned the mobsters. What about Penguin? Because he's in that.
Penguin was on my mind. Penguin was there until I thought of Freeze, and I think he's runner up because Penguin's not malicious in any way. He's basically just a mobster that's deformed.
Yeah.
So I would say worst ones.
As I say, worst.
Killer Croc.
Yeah.
Simply because, okay, so if he's not allowed to harm the child or anything like that, obviously, but he wouldn't know how to take care of the kid. All right, here's a dead deer, here's a cop I killed last week, kid, have some.
Yeah.
He's not going to be able to take care of the kid properly.
Yeah. And then the only other caveat they gave is round 1, it's an average kid who is overall well behaved, and then round 2, though, it's a spoiled kid who throws temper tantrums frequently.
I think. I still think Freeze. I think Freeze
could
is the
hold
best.
up to that. Okay.
What's the kid gonna do? Break out of the ice? I mean, just freeze his feet to the floor.
Is that harming though?
No. No. In the Batman universe, people get frozen by freeze all the time and are fine.
I know. I'm just saying, technically, though, would that be considered?
I don't think it would.
Harming
it
the
doesn't
child.
harm him. No. Just freeze him to the floor until he's done with his temper tantrum, then defrost him and move on. Are you ready? Are you ready to cool off now, son?
I saw this. I'm like, I don't know how this really fits, but I'm like, I've got to bring this on the show somehow.
I mean, you can give me a good or negative if you agree with my pick for Freeze. I think Freeze would be the best. I think it's a three-way tie for the worst. I think Killer Croc. I think Two-Face because he's split, and I think Joker.
Just the face would traumatize him.
Exactly. I think those three would be the worst. Well, yeah, Killer Croc's the same way.
Yeah.
Imagine an 8-year-old kid seeing a fucking dinosaur trying to take care of him. Hi, kid. It's the what movie is? Oh, it's Madagascar. It's a kids movie. A lion tries to comfort a little tiny like squirrel thing, and he's like, "Hi there!" And the squirrel starts screaming. He's like, "Oh my god, lion, get out of the way!" That's Killer Croc for the kid.
Yeah, I think the ones that I would question if they could do a good job would be some of the ladies like Harley Quinn or Poison Ivy types. Like, because I wonder if the maternal instinct would kick in there.
Is it there or not?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that like. And obviously there's different iterations, which is crazy. There's so many like different like takes on Harley Quinn because she's not that old of a character.
You say that, but how old is Harley Quinn?
Like in the 90s, the animated series.
So she's 30 years old.
Yeah, in the realm of Batman, where a lot of the characters are like closer to 100 years than not.
But she's not 10 years old. I mean, she's had 3 decades now, sir.
Yeah,
so let's
that's there's a lot of characters that have gone that period of time without much change.
Yeah,
so.
She's also more popular than half of those characters. So
yeah.
She has had way more iterations. I mean, there's a reason she's had 2 Suicide Squad movies, her own animated show,
and a Barbie movie. I mean, never mind.
Oh, right. Whoopsie.
I still do need to see that.
That's just a Harley Quinn fueled dream. My wife actually just got back from seeing that with our daughter. I wonder how it was.
Yeah.
You haven't seen it yet?
No, because I went and saw Oppenheimer again.
Instead?
I will say too, I was slightly tempted to go again tomorrow for Oppenheimer.
Just hit it 2 times this weekend.
Yeah, I was thinking about
Make it 3.
I was thinking about it. Well, I went to the probably one of the biggest screens in the state or in the valley.
Oh, you did that one for Oppenheimer? What was that?
Yeah,
I forgot about that.
It was definitely bigger. Yeah. But I don't know. The only other thing I'm thinking is the one in West Jordan. I think
the best sound supposedly.
Yeah. So I've thought about going and checking that out. We'll see. I don't know.
Okay.
We'll see what tomorrow brings. But at some point I'll have to see Barbie because it does actually look interesting.
Yeah.
But all right, so let's go ahead and move on over to the main topic, which is Superman and Batman. So we've already talked about these characters a bit. I think it was our Mount Rushmore episode.
Also our current fandoms as well.
Yeah, so we've touched on them a bit, but I wanted to just kind of dive in a little bit. And also at the root of all things, the question has been brought up a few times. Is like, how am I a Superman fan and you're a Batman fan? It
doesn't fit.
I would say in general, personality-wise, it would seem that it should be reversed. I should be the one that likes the one that brutalizes criminals and whatnot. You like the big blue Boy Scout. It just seems logical and fitting. So I want to.
My wife says it makes no sense.
I do want to address that too, but I just want to I don't know, basically just I'm coming with my Superman toys. You're coming with Batman toys, and let's just
have fun.
Yeah, let's just go at it.
This is not a debate who's better. This is not a debate about superpowers or anything like that.
Because the thing is I think at their best, these two are probably damn near best friends.
Honestly, that's my favorite iterations of Batman and Superman is when they're friends. When they're companions, when there's a movie, an animated movie, and I know you haven't got very much into the DC animated universe, and I would strongly recommend you look at this movie as one of the first ones. It's Justice League, Batman and Superman, Public Enemies or Public Enemies.
Oh yeah. I've read that comic.
It's
line.
Where is it? It might be where
it's
Luthor gets president.
He becomes president.
Outlaws superheroes or something like that, and so they have to try and save the planet while being Public Enemies #1. It's so good.
I read that line, I believe. So it's been a while, but
that's the funnest is when they're together.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Is when they're buddy because it's always funny watching Superman be like, "No, Bruce, we can't be like that," and Bruce is like, "Fuck you, I'm going to do it anyway."
There's also the 2 clips that go around. There's the one where it's Batman and Superman meeting for the first time, and he uses the X-ray vision. It's like, oh, Bruce Wayne.
And then Bruce puts the tracker on him. And then he like picks it up off of his cape and looks out the window, and there's Bruce with binoculars. Clark Kent. It's like, oh.
Yeah, there's that one, and the other one I see quite a bit on the Superman realm is Superman dressed as Batman fighting one of Batman's villains.
Bane.
Is it Bane?
Yeah, Bane hulks up on the Venom and everything like that. And he's like, I will break you again, Batman. And he comes in, and he just, big old fist, and just, tonk, catches him, and then just, just tosses him across. It's so good.
Those two tend to I tend to see quite a bit over the, like, those are repost bait for sure. But
the best part about the whole Batman figuring out who Clark Kent is. Do you remember that scene in the animated shows?
Which one?
Where he figures out that Superman uses X-ray vision to figure out.
I've seen that scene.
Do you remember the Batman part of it?
Where he follows him?
Yeah, where he follows him. Do you remember it?
A little bit.
So Superman flies home, right? Goes into his apartment, takes off his cloak, his costume, and tosses it onto the bed. And he's talking on the phone to Lois Lane, who's talking about going on a interview with Bruce Wayne, who sent her flowers. It's like, oh, that's his girl, man. That's fucked up.
Yeah, leave Lois alone. The only thing more dangerous than running afoul of people like Lex Luthor is becoming Batman's girl.
Yeah.
It's not good for one's health.
No. The only thing worse than being Batman's girl is being Batman's Robin. That's bad for your health, too.
Yes, indeed. Did I send you that reel yesterday where it was like incident happens, Superman's there in like a couple seconds, Flash was already there, and it's just like from Breaking Bad, and it's Walt singing in the car. It's like a Batman
the horse with no name. I've seen so many iterations of that where it's just like Batman's cruising, he's listening to rap or rock or country or whatever. It's great.
Or the other meme I love is the one where they're daisy chained the superheroes for like some lady that's like in a raging river. The first one of the chains Superman, and it's like Superman should get his ass kicked for this.
Yes.
Because it's like Superman holding Batman that's then holding Robin
who's rescuing the woman who's trapped in her car in a raging flash flood. It's like Superman should get his ass kicked for this. Yeah, absolutely. My wife says, I love the meme where Batman is on Superman's back and they are flying and Superman starts singing "All New World."
Yeah, the two, I would love to see their relationship shown as friends in the films. I think that would be incredible. So a couple of questions to kind of prime the pump a little bit. I don't know if I think I know the answers to most of these, and everyone might as well. But favorite movie?
My favorite movie? The Batman.
The Batman?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
1989 Batman was the winner until last year.
Yeah.
But the Batman, I mean, there's a reason it's I'm Vengeance instead of I'm Batman.
Yeah. Oh,
right now.
I didn't even notice
that. I like that we have a young Batman.
Yeah.
It's the first time we've ever seen that really on film where it's not.
Because the Batman Begins, it's technically his beginning, but I never got
the
sense
feel
that he
young.
was, I never got the sense he was young in that for some reason.
I don't know why, but he feels so much older than what I picture as year one Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
Which is my definitive young Batman is year one Bruce Wayne, whether it's the comic or the animated movie. Is that this is Bruce Wayne who just came back from overseas, whether it's training with the League of Assassins or training with, whoever. And he's come back and I need a way to make them afraid. How do I make them afraid? And everything like that. I get a picture that he's 22, 25, somewhere in that range. And Nolan's Batman, Christian Bale, feels like he's 35 at Batman Begins.
Yeah.
So that's just my take on it. So Robert Pattinson is a very young Batman in my eye.
Yeah,
and
he probably is in his 30s, but he appears younger, right?
They make him look like he's in his 20s.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
maybe late 20s, but still.
It's kind of like Spider-Man,
20s.
right? Like,
and he's also been on the job for 2 years.
Yeah.
So
yeah, because like Spider-Man, I saw a thing with recently a meme where it's like Tom Holland is now the age that
Tobey
was in the first movie. Yeah, which is wild. But for me, it's the original Superman movie. Like, I just don't think that one can be touched. I think it's still in the DNA of most superhero movies. When we go watch Blue Beetle or whether we watch a Marvel movie, I think some of the the bones that they built in that first Superman movie are still seen today in a lot of Origins movies. Like, not that it's like tit for tat, but I just think that like when you look, because like
the rough outline is what you're talking about.
Yeah, you take it for granted almost now, but it's like the whole idea of like, oh, the young Origins, what happened when they were younger, what sparked it, and then it's like then you get like their big like coming onto the scene thing, like in the movie, and that one it's Superman with the helicopter and stuff. But it's like when you think through like the plot beats, the introduction of like the big villain, then there's like it just so much of what they established there is still seen. I mean,
Also,
a number of MCU movies, so it's not even just a DC thing. So it's just like it's a quintessential one, and I just think that it's hard to beat, man. Like
it's also the early on the awkwardness.
Yeah.
Superman's the one that gave us that awkward hero thing where it's like, for Superman, he doesn't know how to handle his powers. I can run faster than the school bus going 55 on the freeway, Oh, but I can't do that. I got to be, I can't be awkward. Oh, he saves the school bus from going into the river or something. There's always something like that where he has to like hide and he's awkward.
Yeah.
And now we get Spider-Man doing the tray trick and stuff like that. That's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
That awkward phase before they become that hero. And like you said with the helicopter with Superman.
I forgot. I also had a soundbite to start us off.
Oh, nice transition there.
Yeah,
I like that.
It's one where they actually merge the two. It's pretty cool. I should have grabbed the link, but it's cool. It's sorry, I want to get into the habit of having at least some little sound bite to introduce us, but we just jumped right in. But
we were coming late from our other show, so
there's that too. Yeah. No, I can't even blame that though. I completely forgot. But I will say too, nobody has yet to even come close to touching the Superman and Clark better than Christopher Reeve. It just. Everyone has their different takes and different things they've done on television and movies, but just nobody else, like his is 100% understand. Like you watch that movie and it's like you can see why nobody would ever suspect Clark Kent. Like he's a doofus.
The one that got me, and I've always made fun of Superman until very recently when we talked
real
about
life,
this.
Yeah,
Henry Cavill did it. In real life, he put on a pair of glasses and changed his hairdo and walked around Times Square, and he
wore a Superman shirt.
And he wore a Superman shirt,
yeah.
And no one recognized him.
Yeah, and it was Times Square, so it's not just New Yorkers that don't pay attention to shit.
All
the tourists are there.
Yeah,
and he went into a comic book shop.
Yeah,
so it's like he gave and then there's also that what's that actress's name? I always send that meme out every once in a while. I think she was in New Girls or something, and it's like her but like without bangs.
Oh, Zooey Deschanel.
Yeah, it's like a picture of like her with bangs and without and dude, it looks like a different person.
It absolutely does.
And it's just like cool, comb, and she's a different person.
Yep,
it's crazy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mike says my only complaint about the Batman is he should be dead from the fall of trying the wingsuit. His internal organs would be mush.
I mean, yeah, but I think most superheroes are probably dead if you go to that. Because honestly, Mike, we actually debated that coming out of the Batman. Peter was not a fan at first of that. And I actually loved that.
I was not a fan of how he acted on top of the building. I didn't care about the wingsuit.
Oh, okay.
The thing I didn't like was, it was that scene, and that's what we debated about. Is what I didn't like is that he showed fear.
Yeah.
Early on, he didn't give a shit. That kind of thing. It's like, well, okay. Oh, look, heights. Whee! That kind of thing. But you explained it in a way that kind of made more sense, is that he's never done this before.
Yeah.
He's not grappling from gargoyle to gargoyle yet.
Yeah.
He's not figured out that traversing the city without using a motorbike.
And even if you're not, like, afraid of heights, first time you're faced with that kind of thing, you're going to hesitate.
I'll tell you, the first time that I got up into a skyscraper and I was 40, 50 stories up, I'm not afraid of heights.
No.
I've never been afraid of heights.
But it's different.
And everything like that. But I looked out the window.
And your stomach just felt.
And my stomach went, whoo!
Yeah.
Like the little butterflies just went, hey, that's a danger for us if we fall off of there. And it's like, there's glass, obviously. Like my brain overrode that. But still, there's that whoo moment. So.
Yeah, indeed. So I get what you're saying, Mike, but we actually debated outside the theater bit because I was just like, I liked it because I think it reflects the young element and the fact that didn't go the way it like if that's an older Batman that would have gone flawlessly.
Yeah.
But the fact that he like hits the bridge, like it just it's the first time he's done this. Like,
Yeah.
I loved that. That was one of my favorite aspects of the movie. So, but yeah, in terms of like, I mean, if we went through a number of superheroes that are mortal men.
I mean, Iron Man would be dead 10 times over.
Exactly.
He's inside of an iron shell, right? Like,
yeah.
even falling, you hit terminal velocity and stuff like that. Coming to a stop, whether it's by thrusters or not,
Yeah.
you're still going to be hitting iron. You know,
Yeah.
like it's a superhero movie.
Yeah,
right?
indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed. Let's see. Your wife says, always forget Zoe in something, but I can't see because that
In
stupid
Elf.
emoji thing.
In Elf.
oh.
She's the love interest in Elf, and it's one of those ones where she has a different haircut, and it's like, wait, that's the same person?
Oh, yeah.
So I'll pull up. I'll show
Yeah.
you a picture afterwards.
So I'm pretty sure I know this answer, but favorite medium?
Animated movie.
Really?
No. Shame. Arkham games.
Games. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I figured. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I got really into Batman. I love Batman. I liked Batman before, but I love Batman now because of Batman Arkham City was free on Xbox. And I've told the story before, but yeah, free on Xbox. I play Arkham Knight and sometimes Arkham City every single year. Every now and then I'll play Origins or Arkham Asylum. But City and Knight I play religiously. In fact, I'm
Yeah.
actually trying to 100% Arkham Knight when 7 Days to Die got an update. It's the
Oh.
only reason that I stopped playing it.
Yeah.
So
And for me, it's movies. I don't think there's
yeah.
can be much doubt.
Well, I mean,
there
you're
as
such
well.
a movie fan
yeah.
that if it wasn't, I'd be concerned.
Yeah.
I'd be
Now-
like, who are you? What have you done with that?
Now, if you got me a Batman or Spider-Man level game for Superman,
We've talked about that.
I'm there. I'm there for sure.
Yeah.
Just and take this however you will. Favorite villain?
My favorite villain, the Joker.
Yeah.
I mean, I love the Joker, and I know he feels a bit overdone at this point, you know?
Yeah.
But when I play the Arkham games, it's Mark Hamill, man.
Yeah.
I'm playing
And
against Mark Hamill. I'm fighting Mark Hamill.
What's interesting to me is when it comes to the difference between the two is Superman has the villain. And I don't think Batman does. I think Joker comes the closest, but there's so many other people involved with Batman that it's
It's
just
such
like,
a wide variety. Oh, you got the Joker this week, and then you got Penguin, and then Two-Face, and
yeah, it's
Killer
like
Croc.
Superman has a rogues gallery certainly, but it's like it's kind of like the difference between Marvel and DC. Like DC has those two, the two most iconic heroes of all time, and no one comes close.
No.
But then they have a drop off.
There's a severe
And then
drop-off.
Marvel, it's like you don't have as many of those top tier, but the
the
depth.
B tier down
Yeah.
is deeper than DC's B tier.
And that's what I almost equate to the villain wise is yes, maybe Superman's rogues gallery isn't as strong as Batman's, but I would say Lex Luthor is a stronger villain than any one Batman villain. And I honestly, what I've always wondered is, and I don't know if they've ever done this in the comics, is I would love, like when Lex Luthor becomes president at one point, I want to know, what does that look like for the Green Lantern, for Batman, for the Flash? Like they all know who this guy is. And yeah, he doesn't have as much of a hard on for them as he does for Superman, but it's like I got to imagine that Bruce has thoughts on a President Lex Luthor. I don't know. I've always wondered if, like, in the Batman line, if they've ever addressed that, because I assume it's a connected universe and stuff. And I don't know. I just can imagine like what.
It's usually a Batman story a Superman story when he becomes president. So it'd be an interesting take if
it connects.
If they did a run where it's Justice League and Luthor becomes, because could you just imagine if Luthor was President Luthor and his cabinet consist of Joker and the Yellow Lantern guy and Aquaman's brother, and his cabinet is all the supervillains. Like, oh shit.
and I know that most people probably wouldn't be into like the political machinations much, but I would be interested. Like, what if you did like a short, limited run where it was like, what does it look like when Lex Luthor's running for president? Like, what is Bruce Wayne doing?
Yeah.
Like, is he raising money for the opponent? Is he like, you know,
The problem is what would be really smart for Luthor is to find an opponent just as evil as him to the Justice League. So you go out and you find someone like a Harvey Dent to run against him. Oh, Harvey Dent's being rehabilitated. Look, he had plastic surgery. They've done this before in Batman, where he's cured, but the inside wounds are still there.
Yeah.
But have him be cured. So it's like, okay, our choices are Lex Luthor, whose only crime is, you know, he's done some real estate finagling here or there, and he doesn't like Superman. Or we have Harvey fucking Dent, a.k.a. Two-Face. Yeah, I'm going to vote because how does Batman put money into Harvey Dent's campaign?
No, that's true.
You know?
And I wouldn't put that past Luthor as well to not that he necessarily knows like he would know Bruce Wayne's from Gotham and like let me just go grab someone that's like fucking not great for Gotham. He doesn't know he's Batman, but it's like
Luthor would be looking for Wayne to endorse him to get the Gotham vote because Wayne is Gotham's favorite son. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I love it. There's a little Easter egg in the Arkham game, Arkham Knight. When you go up into Wayne Tower and you're talking to Lucius Fox, where you pick like the upgrade and you also do like the hush mission up there. If you go by the door by the bar, there's an answering machine with a blinking light. If you listen to one of the, if you listen to one of the messages, it's Lex Luthor trying to buy Applied Sciences, which is where all the Batman gear is, famously designed by Lucius Fox. He's trying to buy the Applied Science wing of Wayne Industries, and he's like, besides, who doesn't need another $1 billion? He's offering him $1 billion for that, and I'm like, that fucker knows that he's Batman. He knows, and that's why he's trying to buy Batman's fund out from under, like his science wing, his gear out from under him.
Yeah.
There's also a throwaway line if you listen to the militia, where one of the militia guys, like if you're sitting near a checkpoint, they'll do random conversations. One of them's like, "Yeah, I hope Lex runs for president. I'd vote for him over any of these other weirdos." So it's just that's come up. They even throw that in like the Arkham games.
Yeah.
So they talk about that.
I just always wonder if the comics delve into that much. One comic line, I don't know if it's done yet enough to where they have like an omnibus or whatever, but they did both Superman, it's Superman 78 and Batman 89, and it's comics that are basically taking place after those movies. And when I was,
That's new, isn't it?
They were just starting to trickle into like the app, so they're 3-6 months, whatever it is, before it gets on there. But that was months ago, so I wonder if they're getting close to the point where those might be done and they will put out some sort of like collection.
That'd be really cool.
Because that'd be a cool one. Because I haven't read the Batman one, but I started into the Superman one. It's kind of cool to delve into like the
character
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And yeah, for sure.
Mike says, for Batman, the justice system that lets the bad guys out monthly or fails to keep them in should be his villain. I mean, corruption is his original villain.
Yeah.
The mafia and everything like that. And almost every iteration of Batman, that's what he does first before the Rogues Gallery pops up, is that he doesn't focus on Penguin or Joker or anyone like that. He's focusing on the mob first.
Yeah, and that's the Batman, right? Like, you got Riddler there, but it's like
organized crime that he's going after. He's not worried about Riddler that much.
Yeah.
Oh, a serial killer? Nah. Organized crime? That's my beef.
Yeah.
Because he thinks that's what killed his parents.
Yeah. So in terms of from the fandom perspective, how plugged in are you to like Batman fandom? Do you like have like a subreddit and like Facebook pages that you kind of I assume you have some finger on the pulse of Batman fandom.
I used to be really big into Reddit. I've stopped over the last few months. One of the big problems is that our reader for Reddit stopped working.
Yeah, Reddit killed it all.
Yeah, Reddit killed all those third-party apps and everything like that. So I have to use the Reddit app, which is a dog shit app.
Yeah, I only use it at home pretty much now.
Yeah,
when I'm on a computer, it's the only time I do it. Like, I'm not going to use their shit app.
I have their app on my phone, and I think I've gone to it like once or twice in the last like 4 months.
Yeah.
So I used to have the Batman subreddit on there, so I got a lot of news from that. So really from there, no, I don't. My YouTube is very tailored to Batman, so that is helpful because trailers.
Yeah. For the animated stuff.
Not only that, DC does trailers for comics.
Oh yeah.
I just got one that dropped, and I'm glad we're talking about Batman and Superman. Is because they are going to team up going against some of the biggest challenges they've ever faced, as they're going to go into the MonsterVerse and have to fight Godzilla and King Kong in a comic run. So it's Justice League versus Kong versus Godzilla.
Interesting.
So yeah, they do little trailers like that for comic runs.
Yeah.
But yeah, Batman has a new movie on HBO Max. I know about that because I have to have HBO Max now because it is my Batman source.
Yeah.
They have almost all of the animated movies on there. They have the animated series. They have Batman Beyond. Batman Brave and the Bold is on there. There's one other series that I'm forgetting that they have on there.
I need to check out what Superman they've got on there. I never do that.
They have a ton ton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in terms of, I guess there's two parts to this question. So first of all, I guess but then we'll go into fandom. I guess movie-wise, a new movie comes out. Let's even say it's like the Batman when that was coming out. Like, what is your thoughts initially when they were developing a new Batman movie? Like, and what did like you and the fans like? What is the discussion like? Are people like more like is it like the actor, the costume, the directors, like what villains, like what's the general like vibe when it comes to
the biggest question is who's playing Batman, and the biggest question is which of the Rogues Gallery are they going to be there. That is the question. I mean, right now we have it going on right now with the Batman 2, the sequel to the Batman.
Yeah.
Is slated to come out in a
but you're about also
little over 800 days. I have a counter on my computer for the release.
Well, the Brave and the Bold's being developed too by
the Brave
James
and the
Gunn,
Bold
so it's
is
like
being developed as well.
You're
and the
going to
question
get a
is,
Batman.
we're going to get an older Batman, is what Gunn said. So people are asking, okay, we're going to get Batfleck, or we're going to get someone else, stuff like that.
Sounds like not Batfleck. I forgot to mention in the news. It sounds like he's being edited out of Aquaman.
Oh, is
Apparently,
he really?
Batfleck was had a part in it. Probably not big.
Oh,
but,
okay.
It sounds like that's being cut out.
If that's not the right person to edit out of Aquaman, but that's just my opinion. But
we're not here to bash on Aquaman's.
no, I have no problem with Aquaman. It's not Aquaman that I have a problem with.
I
It's
do.
his,
you could cast Khal Drogo to play him. It's still a stupid superhero. I don't like Aquaman.
I liked the first Aquaman movie. I enjoyed the first Aquaman movie. I don't enjoy his love interest in that. The actress is a piece of shit. So anyway, no, but even right now, before the whole Reddit thing happened, every other post, it seemed like, on the Batman subreddit was, what if they did this for the Batman 2? What if they did this for the Batman 2? And it's all talking about who the villain's going to be.
Yeah.
And we've even had conversations about that already. And this movie's 2 years away. It hasn't even started. Like, there's no script. Like, there's nothing for it. Like, we have a director, and we have a Batman, and we have an Alfred, and that's it. Like, that's the only things we have. Maybe a Gordon. I don't know how many movies he signed on for.
I bet you there's at least a rough draft of a script.
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, we'll never know.
Maybe.
It won't ever get out, but
but
I bet you there's at least something before the strike happens.
But I think that's the biggest thing for Batman is who's playing Batman and who are the villains.
Is there any because like for instance with Superman, I've always wondered because Superman, like, there's costume elements. Is there anything that people even care about the Batman? Is it like a debate when a new Batman's being made, or is it more just like everyone just assumes it's fine? Because, like, dude, Superman fans get like hyper focused on, like,
really,
is there going to be trunks? Like, how dark is the blue? Like, like costume is like insanely a big conversation.
It's come up before, like the first still
but it's
photos.
not. It's probably not a heavy.
No, because I mean, it's
point.
kind of hard to fuck up Batman's look.
I would say it's almost like a trade-off of, like, because I don't think you generally hear a lot of debate about Superman villains, like who's going to be there. It seems like we've never really got past Lex Luthor much.
Yeah.
I mean, Doomsday's had his appearance here and there, but like, but it's just I've always wondered. I'm like, I doubt Batman fans ever deal with this. Every time I see a post, I get tired of like hearing the same debates over and over.
His
it's
boots
like,
are too tall.
Dude, I've seen that. The boots are too tall. Like the trunks are there or not there. The blue's too dark. The cape doesn't have the symbol, or it does that. Like, it's constant. It's like
little things for you, but big things for other people.
Yeah.
Oh, my wife is right. Fat bat. Fuck that. I hate that. She is 100%
So the Batman
right.
logo is maybe the
logo is a big thing for me. Not for
Yeah.
I don't see it a lot for other Batman fans. But my favorite is the I like the Batman logo. It's nice. It's simplistic. It also has a function, which I loved because they pulled that off and used it as like a knife.
Yeah.
That was really kind of cool to see it as like a functioning thing. In the Arkham games, what I love is in his new suit, the Arkham Knight, who is supposed to know him and has revenge on his mind. He's like, yeah, don't aim for the bat symbol. That's a red herring. That's where the armor's the strongest. It's kind of smart for Batman to do that. Give them something to shoot at so they don't shoot at the soft, squishy parts.
Yeah.
But yeah, I absolutely hate the fat bat symbol. The where it's just a big fucking thing and a little bat head.
Superman symbols go through some change too.
For me, it's just like, it's an S. How hard is that to get right?
Just Google like different Superman S's and just some of them don't even
No,
look like S's.
we know
It's
this
like,
because we
good
talked
God.
about this because you're potentially going to be looking at getting a Superman tattoo.
Yeah,
and I'm like, so you're just getting a Superman logo, right? And you're like, yeah, it just depends on which one. And I was like, the fuck's he talking about? Which one? There's only one. So I Googled it just to see what it would look like. Holy shit. I have a poster on my wall.
The Batman
at home
one?
where it's just the comic
versions
Batman logos.
from 1930 something to all the way to
2008, I think
yeah,
is where it goes
Superman,
up to.
There's a Superman one the exact
Okay.
same way.
How does Superman have that many different iterations of a fucking S? It's an S, man.
Yeah, it changes a lot, man, and sometimes they get
Oh, thank you. My wife says 1940 to 2011. She's sitting in my front room looking at it, so. Yeah.
Also, let's see. Mike says, "What's more important, a good actor portraying a much lesser known villain, or a mediocre actor portraying a famous villain?" Aimed towards you for Batman.
Oh, okay. A good actor portraying a much lesser known villain.
So, like, I would say Riddler, like Paul Dano
Okay.
playing Riddler versus like, I don't know,
Tommy Lee Jones playing Two-Face?
maybe, yeah.
I mean, if you're going to give me a well-known actor playing a small... I kind of like the small villain.
Lesser known, maybe.
Lesser known villains, because then we just get a new villain and a new fandom for that villain. Because that's part of the thing with Batman is that, dude, there's fandoms for villains.
Yeah.
People fucking love the Joker and Harley and
Yeah.
and the relationship that they have and everything like that. And Two-Face has a following, and Penguin has a following.
I mean, I love Cobblepot, man.
You do.
Especially,
You do.
especially Danny DeVito Cobblepot. He's great.
Yeah, I'll show you the French flipper trick.
He's just so nasty. It's
it could be
wonderful.
worse. My nose could be gushing blood.
No, but even in the Arkham games
No,
I played,
yeah.
I loved him in those.
Oh,
like,
he was
I think
great.
I think he might be one of my favorite villains in
Yeah.
in those. Like
he's
just
but it's a different iteration. It's
Yeah.
a different version of him and everything. And I think that's the thing is that if we take someone who is a lesser known villain and make it, I mean, hell, that's what they did with Freeze.
yeah.
You give me a Freeze that changed the
I think
origin
that's
story
the,
a little bit.
I
and
think
everything.
that's maybe the one where it's well, now that Arnold's because that's what he said, right? Is a much lesser known villain,
Yes.
or a mediocre actor portraying
See,
a famous
if
one.
you
Like,
gave me
like
a
Arnold,
mediocre, if you gave me a good actor portraying a much lesser known villain like Freeze, I think what is that? Batman and Robin, or is that
Batman and
Forever?
Robin.
I think Batman and Robin would have been a better film than having a megastar play Freeze.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. I was saying in terms of villain wise, I was just telling Peter this at work recently. I think what they need to do a different thing for Lex Luthor is they need to get someone, and I honestly, and I'm not saying this as a serious thing, but you need to get a Tom Hanks type. You need to find an actor that is absolutely and almost
Beloved.
universally beloved to play Lex Luthor.
Absolutely.
Because get someone that has that charisma that people love.
Absolutely.
Because I feel like Gene Hackman, he has a charm.
But he's also played a bad guy. But a lot of people are like, I don't like him.
Yeah, and he plays a great bad guy.
Yeah.
But it's like you need to play a Lex Luthor where people can, film-wise, where people can watch a movie, see Lex Luthor and go, I could see why that guy got made president.
Yeah.
I could see why he got elected. I could see why half the people hate Superman because this guy is the one leading the charge. Like,
Yeah, he's a great guy.
I think that would be an interest. And I'm not saying Tom Hanks because I know he's silly.
No, but in that vein, I cannot think of a single other actor aside from Tom Hanks. Someone just so beloved that people are like, yes,
yeah,
him.
there's not many people that are like overly beloved, but find someone like that is so generally beloved that people would probably get mad when he got cast. We're like, how could you cast him as a villain? Find someone like that
Yeah.
and make him Luthor, so people would be like, I don't know. I feel it would be a different turn on Luthor than we've generally seen.
Prime Brando as Egghead or Corey Feldman as Riddler. I would take Brando as Egghead.
I mean, yeah, Prime Brando. That's hard. That's hard.
How do you pass up Prime Brando being a Batman villain? I
Yeah.
don't care if it is Egghead.
Yeah.
He could be fucking Condiment King for all I care.
Who was Egghead in the show? Was it Vincent Price?
No, Vincent Price was Joker, wasn't he?
No, something Romero.
Cesar Romero.
Cesar Romero is Joker. Because that was the Egghead is one of the tapes we had as a kid when I had some VHS Adam West, and I think it was just recorded off of TV VHSs. And one of them was an Egghead episode. So Egghead's one that
played by Vincent Price. Good call.
Yeah. That's. I mean, I didn't know. I was a young kid. I didn't know who the fuck Vincent Price was. But in retrospect, I've looked back and went, "Oh my God, Vincent Price played that part."
Also, the less like the good actor could potentially make himself a career out of it. I mean, fuck, who the fuck was Heath Ledger to play the Joker?
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, yeah, it's.
I guess that's not exactly what Mike was asking. Like a lesser known. I like lesser knowns when it comes to villains. I think that especially gives them a chance to spread their wings.
Yeah.
Or if you take someone who's typically a good guy, or typically a bad guy, and make them good. We were just talking about him the other day. The bad guy in Breaking Bad.
Bryan Cranston?
No, the bad guy.
Oh, Giancarlo Esposito.
That one. Who always plays a bad guy. He's a bad guy in The Mandalorian. He's a
Yeah.
bad guy in The Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
Cast him as... see, if you cast him as Lex Luthor, it's like, I don't trust him.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you cast him as Lucius Fox,
no, there's
all of a sudden you trust that guy.
There's-
You're like, I want to see him play a good guy.
there's people fan casting him as Xavier.
Yeah, exactly.
For the new X-Men.
That's what it was.
That'd be
But
cool.
that would be amazing because it gives him a chance to expand out and everything like
Yeah.
that. And he's an amazing actor. I know he
Okay,
can be good.
If I could have a time machine,
Yeah,
Patrick Stewart as Lex Luthor.
exactly.
That's-
Ian McKellen is Lex Luthor now.
Yeah. Well, you can't have a 90-year-old Lex Luthor. That's the
Sure you
problem.
can.
Nah.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Watch Superman punch a 90-year-old man. What a villain.
But to give me like 1980 something, 1987, about the time that the first season of Next Generation came out. Give me that Patrick Stewart
or Morgan Freeman.
because I mean, like The Green Room's a horror
Yeah.
movie he did, and that it was jarring to people because they're like,
Because he was
wait, he's a bad guy in
Yeah.
this? Like it's Patrick Stewart for God's sake. He's like the most beloved. He's probably the perfect example. Except I think he's not necessarily the age for Lex Luthor.
Hey, you keep
but-
your Hugh Jackman away from my Batman, all right?
Hugh Jackman is the Joker.
No, if Hugh Jackman's going to be a Batman villain, he needs to be Riddler. Like little scrawny Riddler that gets his ass kicked by Batman. Watch him go on the Christian Bale diet and just shrink down Hugh Jackman.
Yeah. Oh, and this almost sounds as silly as Tom Hanks, but what about Ryan Reynolds as Lex Luthor?
Oh, dude. I think you got it. Dude, I think you got it. Because how could you not root for Ryan? It's Ryan fucking Reynolds.
Yeah. And I think he's got some acting chops. He doesn't show it off much.
No.
He's more the comedic, and he's...
But also he's got the okay, so the Deadpool would actually help Lex Luthor because Lex Luthor is sarcastic as fuck. Like, oh, you're just going to break in here? Like, who's going to pay for that? And, that kind of thing. He's got that kind of sass to him. And I think it's like my wife says she'd root for Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah. So that, and like, maybe it isn't as silly as Tom Hanks, because I think he could actually maybe pull that off. Like that. That's been the thought I've had recently.
Go find yourself a heartthrob. That's what you got to do.
Yeah.
Like Pedro Pascal. Pedro Pascal. Absolutely, Pedro Pascal.
So, because I thought about Chris Hemsworth in the Bad Times at the El Royale.
Yes.
Where he's just this fucking like Charles Manson type cult guy. Like,
yeah.
But it was just like, wait, that's Thor. Like, you just don't expect him to be a bad guy. But yeah, Pedro Pascal, he's played a little bit villainous.
A little bit.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
I think he would. He's like such a heartthrob right now, and that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Is like, yes, we know he will give us a great performance as Lex Luthor, but all the girls who have crushes on him will go in rooting for him instead of Superman.
Oh yeah, because he was in the Wonder Woman movie as the villain.
He was.
That didn't work.
But he
out
wasn't exactly like
No, he wasn't
knuckle cracker.
No, he wasn't overly villainous.
Yes.
He was actually, you kind of felt for him a little
Yeah,
bit.
exactly.
I will also say the only other thing to put a button on that question is in the last decade or so, tone has become a new debate topic for Superman, which that was never a thing before, but it certainly is now. I won't go too much further into that, but yes, tone and that kind of thing is a big discussion point, which it wasn't before. Like, I remember the lead up to like Superman Returns. I remember I was online and stuff, so I saw like the general thought, like
2006, right?
Yeah, I saw the conversation of that in the early 2000s. So it's like tone was never an issue up until recent.
Yeah.
let's see. What is an aspect of the well, actually, let me skip that one because that one goes to our larger question where we want to get to. What do you think would be the perfect story to tell in a movie for your character?
For Batman? I think, honestly, and it's been my opinion since watching the Batman, I think they need to embrace the comics and stop with this dark and gritty shit. Give me the fun Batman while still having a really good action story.
Yeah, go pre-86. The Dark Knight Returns, because that's where that completely redefined.
I want a balance between Adam West and Michael Keaton.
Oh yeah, but I mean the Batman in the comic wasn't Adam West. Like Adam West was an extreme.
Yes. And that's the problem is that I say a fun Batman, instantly everyone's going to think of.
Yeah. You know what it is? Legitimately, the exact same thing is James Bond. Roger Moore's era got so funny and silly at a point that I've actually heard what's his name, Daniel Craig, bitch, that they basically had no ability to put any humor in because basically Roger Moore's era ruined humor for Bond, and you just couldn't put humor in there anymore because people were so like reactive of like, God, don't do Roger Moore. And I think Batman's the same way. I think Adam West, everyone thinks that if you go outside of the Batman Return or the Dark Knight Returns, you're going to immediately go to Adam West, and that's absolutely not the case. The character has way more. There's more nuance to there's more to that scale for Batman than just Dark Knight Returns versus Adam West. That's not.
It's funny. I listened to this the book that you told me. I'm completely forgetting the name of it. Let me pull it up real fast. But basically, the guy is a huge Batman fan, and he wrote a Superman book as well, which is how you found out about it and told me about it. But it is called The Cape Crusade by Glenn Weldon. He basically talked about how Batman shifts.
Yeah.
When Batman was first introduced, he was a very serious superhero. And in the first 20 or so years, it shifted to being he used a gun, for God's sakes, to start off with and killed people.
Yeah.
And then it shifted to, no, he needs to be more of a hero. So it shifted to fun Batman. And then it shifted a little bit back. Then it went full fun with Adam West.
Yeah.
But like you said, the comics weren't doing that.
No.
And then in the 80s, Frank Miller came out with The Dark Knight Returns. We got this dark and gritty Batman. It's been that way ever since. And I think that the time is right for us to shift slightly back.
I wonder if Gunn would do that for his version. Because you have the Batman. I think it's a perfect time because you have the Batman existing in this alternate universe.
Great. You want the dark and gritty Batman? Watch the Batman.
You've got that version.
You want the fun Batman that makes jokes and quips and jokes around with his Robin as he kicks people's ass? Go watch the Batman, the Brave and the Bold.
Yeah.
So, like Mike says in the chat, the Killing Joke, go full rated R. See, I don't feel like Batman should ever really go full rated R because in a way, it's the same as putting a Superman film at rated R. Batman is the most popular superhero, tied with Superman. Like you said, they're the two most popular.
Yeah.
Anyone.
I mean, our grandparents, well, depending on how
age,
old your family is, but like there's a good chance that our parents guaranteed all knew who Batman and Superman were. And our grandparents potentially did too. So it's just like, that's like a generational thing.
They
like
read those comics in World War II and stuff like that. It's like, I don't know what Superman was doing, but they talked about it in that book that Batman was fighting on the home front.
Yeah.
He didn't go to Europe. He didn't go to the Pacific.
Superman struggled with that because it turned into a thing where it's like Superman.
Why doesn't he go end the war?
Yeah, he could end this all in like 20 seconds. Like, why isn't he doing that? So they had to really like hem and haw and figure some shit out where it's like allow him to still exist without, he's Superman. He could go over and like take Hitler and assault every one of them and just carry him into space and just let him go. Like,
and when I say that I don't want like a hard R for Batman, I'm talking about live action because that's the big, let the kids come and enjoy it. Because I don't want to.
Yeah.
I know that hard R is not as restrictive as it used to be.
Yeah.
But there was nothing wrong with the Batman that my daughter couldn't watch. She's 10.
Yeah.
But there are some themes in The Killing Joke that I will not let her watch the animated film of it.
Yeah.
And there's a reason for that. And it is a hard R for the animated film. But I think Batman should be fun. I don't think that it should have to be just dark and gritty.
Yeah.
I think that's been going on for 40 years.
Almost 40 years.
40
pretty
years or so. And I think that it's time. I mean, hell, people loved Batman with Michael Keaton, and it had jokes.
Yeah, but it
You
was,
want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. You know, like
it had its elements, but ultimately that was even still very
it was still dark and gritty.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it was heavily inspired off of the Dark Knight Returns.
Exactly.
Like that completely is defined
But
Batman.
they couldn't go full Frank Miller because, I mean, for God's sakes, you had Tim Burton directing.
Yeah.
So there was going to be some silliness there. There always is with Tim Burton.
Yeah.
And everything. And I think that's something that is sorely lacking from live action Batman. So I want them to embrace the comics. I want them to embrace that Batman makes smart comments. Batman is a wise ass. And I want him to embrace that, and I want them to embrace the comic villains. I am tired of this, what, did you expect us to wear yellow spandex?
Yeah.
Of Batman. Stop giving me ground down to earth characters. I want fucking Clayface, who's a fucking monster made of clay, who can shapeshift. I want Freeze, that if he raises his temperature above a certain point, he will die. I want a guy that looks like a fucking penguin. You know?
Like Danny DeVito.
Like Danny DeVito. Like, I want that stuff.
And a Joker with like a distinct purple suit, not
Yeah.
like so dark purple that it's almost black.
Yeah, I want that.
Like,
I do.
Like I think
maybe the Batman sequel is not the place for it, like you said,
Yeah.
but I want that.
yeah,
I do.
And I wonder if Gunn is going that direction, maybe with his version.
I wonder if that's why he's doing it.
Yeah, and that's why they're not just tying in the Batman into the rest of the universe.
Exactly.
Gives him the perfect opportunity to kind of you've got the dark and gritty on one channel. Here on the other channel, we're going to do
Because
something.
here's the thing, and this goes in line with what we're talking about today, is that if you have dark and gritty Batman, that character can never be best friends with Superman.
No,
You can't take the Dark Knight and have him be friends with the Superman.
no.
It's
It wouldn't work. There would be too much. It becomes Xavier and Magneto.
yeah.
That's-
It's two polar opposites that don't attract. They push away from each other and everything, and that's where I'm struggling. That if we're going to build a connected universe, you can't have that Batman. You got to have a Batman that will at least sometimes work with the Justice League. I know that he is famous for, fuck you guys, you're doing it wrong, and
Yeah.
leaving, and
Yeah.
everything like that. But you have to have someone who's willing to see the bigger picture. And you can't tell me that a dark and gritty Batman, Dark Knight Returns kind of thing, he fights Superman, for God's sakes. That's the whole
Yeah.
point of that show, is that you finally get the showdown between Batman and Superman after years of friendship.
Yeah.
So when he turns dark and gritty, I want to see the 40 years before that.
Yeah.
I want to see that Batman,
Yeah.
where they work together.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, I mean, for me, I think Superman's is more interesting in a lot of ways in the fact that there has been movies, but I don't think that he's as prevalent in the movie realm.
Mm-hmm.
So doing a Superman movie, it's like I feel like Superman Returns was just like a spiritual sequel to Superman 1 and 2. 3 and 4 kind of have their own little thing there, whatever. And then you've got like the Man of Steel stuff. Like, there really isn't that much Superman. And
Yeah.
so they're in a spot where like a vast majority of his Rogues Gallery have never seen the screen.
Yeah.
You haven't seen, big screen.
Yeah.
TV's different. But you haven't really seen a ton. There's a lot they can do with movies and that's why I'm excited for what James Gunn is doing. I think so long as they don't try to, because I think that we're getting out from the realm of like the early 2000s where everything was dark and gritty.
Yeah.
And I'm glad because Superman just doesn't work for that. That's
No.
not Superman. So I'm hoping we can get to a spot where the world is dark and gritty enough. Let's get a hopeful
Yeah.
superhero.
Where's the symbol that means hope for Superman?
Yeah, and in terms of, like I said, I do think the idea of like a Lex Luthor president would be an interesting movie because that puts Superman in a very precarious situation.
Yeah. What do you do? Disobey the president?
Yeah, exactly. And whether he turns the whole government on him or not, but like I almost like the idea of like there being like a pro and con for Superman. Like half the people love him, half the people hate him. Like we haven't really seen that delved into in the movies.
No.
I don't ever want to see the death of Superman again. I think that's been alluded to and done enough times, and even in live action, which hasn't even been that many movies.
It just happened in Batman versus Superman.
Yeah, and
Justice League.
they did it in freaking Superman Returns. They allude to it. He doesn't die, but it's like close enough to where it's like, all right, I'm kind of getting tired of this.
He also left the planet, which is basically like dying. Is like, oh, he's gone.
Yeah, he's gone. Like, I don't know. Honestly, the one thought I've always had for a Superman movie is Lex Luthor's president. And I know this sucks because like Superman Returns is already a taken title, but what I almost would like the idea of like the opening credits of a movie is the world voted to outcast Superman. We don't want you here anymore.
Leave.
And like then like so he does. He honors them and leaves whatever. But then at a certain point they're begging him to come back.
It's Batman that's going to find him.
And like then it's like, hey, what does that look like then when Superman's coming back to a world that basically said fuck you, get off our planet. And I would, because again, Superman and he'll never change. He'll always be who he is, but what does that look like now when that big blue Boy Scout is being begged to come back to a world that cast him out because the world's gone fucking sideways? Like, I think that'd be a really cool movie. That's a little bit more of an older Superman, though. Because they're going for like the young Superman in his first couple years in Metropolis.
Yep.
That wouldn't be James Gunn. So I'm not saying that's what I'm hoping for this movie. I'm just saying a perfect Superman movie. I don't know.
One that you would like to see.
Yeah, indeed. Let's see. What am I missing in the chat?
Mike says, if Superman sees the best in everyone, he can always try to forgive Bruce for his failings, including losing it and killing Joker.
Yeah, and I
killing
think
Joker.
And I think that's I think Superman's always been. I mean, he's always forgiving. So yeah, but I think there comes a point though where if Batman's too dark, it's going to be tough. It's going to become Magneto and Xavier. You're going to end up with there's going to be an animosity there where it's like you're doing the wrong thing.
Which is what we had in Zack Snyder's Batman versus Superman, is that Batman was killing people and Superman's like, no. And so they fought, and that was that. But I would love to see a Batman and Superman buddy film. Do a Batman film, do a Superman film, and then do a team up with just the two of them.
Yeah.
No Justice League.
Yeah.
No one else.
You don't need the
just
Justice
the two
League.
of them.
Yeah, just the two of them would be freaking cool. That'd be awesome.
That'd be amazing, right?
Yeah, and I've read a couple lines that are considered the best lines of the two together, and they're incredible.
Yeah.
They're great
There's
reads.
There's a really great exchange. I think it's the New 52 is where I've seen it. It's come up
I'm
a
in the middle of
times.
reading that right now, actually. The New 52 Superman.
Oh, yeah?
I'm on like issue 5 or 6.
There's a scene where Selena Kyle, who's dating Bruce Wayne, and Lois Lane, who's married to Clark, are getting together for a double date. Bruce and Selena are coming in through the elevator, and Superman and Lois are flying in, and they're talking about each other to their significant other.
Oh, yeah.
And Clark is
Talking
saying
about the other one.
Clark is saying how great Bruce is, and Bruce is saying how great Clark is, and how he could never be he's always what I want to be. I want to be the good guy, but I can't. I live in the world where it's evil and twisted, and Superman lives above that in the clouds, and he's so much better than me. And then Clark's like, I wish that I could have the drive and the determination that Batman has. And it's such a great wholesome.
Yeah, I think I've seen that one.
It's such a great wholesome thing to see what the other thinks about them without them being face to face, because you can't express that when you're face to face with with the other guy.
No, for
but
sure.
It's saying it to your significant other, and it's just such a wholesome scene to see them, how much they think of each other.
Yeah.
To see that put to film would be amazing. I would love it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm hoping that Gunn has that in store for us. I do. I'm hoping that his universe nets us a Superman Batman team up. Because I think that maybe I wouldn't say the Justice League is a damaged brand, but I would say that they probably aren't going to be in a rush to go to a Justice League at this point. So, it'd be interesting to see. Here's an interesting, I got an almost philosophical question.
Okay.
At the root, who is your character? Is it Bruce or is it Batman? He's
Batman. There's a scene in Batman Beyond. I'm forgetting the name of it. The one where he's old and there's a new Batman. Batman Beyond.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. My brain just broke right there. There's a scene in Batman Beyond where someone injects him with some kind of psychedelic or something like that, where he is like, kill yourself. Jump out the window. Go ahead. It's okay. And the new Batman, Terry, is like, how did you know that the voices weren't real? And he says, it called me Bruce. He thinks to himself, I'm Batman.
So Bruce is a disguise.
Bruce is the disguise.
Okay.
He absolutely is Batman. And then he uses Bruce as the cover.
Okay.
Because there's even times in the games, in the comics, in the movies, and everything like that, where Alfred's like, no, we got to keep up appearances for Bruce. I mean, the Batman has it where Alfred's like, hey, the bankers are here. Why? Because I couldn't get you to go to them. You know, he's like, and that's the Batman that's young and doesn't have the realization that he's got to keep up appearances yet.
Yeah.
I think he learns it a little bit in that film. And like at the funeral, he's like, oh, I got to keep up appearances. And maybe that's what I got to do. And I think going into the second film would be great to see him like expand out into the Bruce character and everything. But he is absolutely Batman who puts on the Bruce costume during the day.
Yeah. Okay. And that's interesting because Superman's the exact opposite. He's Clark. At his core,
Yep.
He's Clark Kent. Like that is ultimately the defining aspect of the character is that he landed in Kansas and was raised by Ma and Pa Kent, and that is who he is. I mean, like they've even played with that with alternate, universes where it's like, oh, he lands in Russia or whatever else, like
Red Sun.
Yeah, but like there's all these different versions, but ultimately what it comes down to is like he was raised in small town Kansas. He was raised by salt of the earth people. That defines him. Like, so I would say it's like the exact opposite. I would say that he is Clark. And Superman is, even though like technically, right, like he is really Superman, right? He was born on Krypton.
Yeah.
But like ultimately, it's the reverse of that. It's the flip of that, though. Is at his root, he is Clark, and he always will be. That will always be who he is. So that's it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, absolutely see that, especially like even like the little comments that Superman makes. It's like, how does people not realize that's Clark? Like that's Clark right there showing through. But then when you look at it, it's like, oh no, that's more confidence than Clark shows. Like he's really good at throwing off the anxiety that he has as Clark trying to fit in and becoming Superman, which a lot of people would be like, oh, that's going to be easy for him to be natural. No, it's not. He's been hiding his entire life. His natural state is Clark.
Yeah. Yeah, and he grew up without that, right? Like, like he came of age into powers, like when he got a little bit older. So it's like growing up, like he had like he was resilient and stuff, but it's like I always view it from like the Superman movie where it's like at a certain age he feels the call and then he like goes kind of on the hero's journey to like find out his backstory. But
Fortress of Solitude and everything like that.
Ultimately, he doesn't know early on. He's just a kid on a farm, so like that is his ultimate, in a lot of ways, mental. That's where he came of age as is Clark. So like that's who he always will be. And I think that, like with Batman, I think the difference is like the character like broke, right? Like like Bruce Wayne died and basically Batman's all that exists, and Bruce Wayne is now the costume.
I think that Bruce Wayne was diagnosed with a terminal disease and didn't die until Batman was born.
Yeah.
I think that's not when his parents died.
Yeah.
I think it's when he became Batman.
Oh, yeah, for
like,
sure.
There's a scene in the animated series where he pulls the cowl on for the first time and he sees Alfred's reaction where Alfred's all scared. And that's what he wants. I want them to fear me. And that's the whole point of Batman is it's fear. They need to fear the legend. You get that scene in the beginning of Batman in 1989. Nah, man, not tonight. Man, you're more likely a chance to hit the lottery, kind of thing. That fear.
Yeah.
That's what Batman's all about. Superman's all about that hope, and if there's hope, he hopefully one day can stop being Superman.
Yeah.
Batman doesn't ever want to stop.
Yeah. He wouldn't know what to do with himself if he did.
He doesn't. Look at Michael Keaton in The Flash. He doesn't know what the hell to do with himself. He becomes a hobo in his own house.
He's got a hobo beard.
He's got a hobo beard and long hair and everything.
Cooking spaghetti.
That
did look delicious, by the way.
Oh, yeah, it did. Mike's got some stuff here in the chat. He says, moment of honesty, I worked in a comic book store in high school, early to mid-90s. My favorite DC character was Lobo. I was a teenager, forgive me. I don't think there's any forgiving needed. I don't even know who Lobo is.
They're potentially making a movie, I think.
Are they really? Cool. I was there for the Image launch. How does the old school characters hold up to the new ideas? Spawn is amazing in concept and execution. How does Batman, Superman, Captain America, Thor hold up to new ideas?
Yeah.
I'm going to let you answer that one first, because how does Superman look now compared to when he was first launched?
In terms of like, are we saying like how does Superman exist in today's age? Or are we talking about how has he evolved since the early 30s? Or I guess what I wanted to make sure I'm understanding the question you're asking.
How does this is what Mike asked. How does the old school characters hold up to new ideas?
I think for super, yeah, and I think he's talking more about like that's what was the draw of those characters.
Yeah.
But I think with Superman, like I think he always holds up over time. Like, there, like I think that like there's always an idea that comes along that like, oh well, the world's moved past like Superman or like the optimism or whatever, but it's like. Like I guess I kind of looked smilingly in 2020. Not that there was much smiling to do that year, but like what was one of the biggest shows that year? Ted Lasso.
Yeah.
Why was Ted Lasso popular in
It
2020?
made you feel good.
Yeah, it was a fucking ray of sunshine in an otherwise bleak and fucking disastrous world. Like that's what Superman should be. Like and like
Absolutely.
I remember thinking that in 2020 as I'm like, this is the exact proof that Superman. There's never a time that the world doesn't need Superman. Like we may think we do, but we're wrong. And I would love to see, I almost think in a lot of ways like the kind of more cynical age that maybe we're in now. In a lot of ways, there's a lot more cynicism and stuff. I almost think that works well with Superman because now you've kind of put him in a spot where the world's ideals almost don't align as much, but at the same time he still is who he is and he's still trying to inspire and he would fight against that cynicism, whereas like I think Batman is more cynical in nature. And
Yeah.
I don't know, I guess that's getting a little like the core of the characters, and I think that's the so let's see, I guess let's transition that into the last question I have, and then I want to get into the whole idea of like why are you the way that you are? What aspect of the character? What is an aspect of the character that you are particularly fond of? Like, what's a trait? What is something that you just, whether you see it in a movie, a game, a comic, a cartoon, like that you just love? Like, what's?
Can I wait? Because that's like the main reason why I'm a Batman fan.
Oh, okay.
Well, literally like the reason I'm about to give, like the trait that I love.
I mean,
most about Batman.
we're transitioning into that conversation.
Okay.
So if you want to answer it, you can answer.
Do you want me to wait for you to answer yours? And
No.
then I'll, okay.
No, go ahead.
I mean, this is the big reason why I'm a Batman fan is because I love characters that don't give up. That
Yeah.
battered and beaten, but they still get up to their feet. I fucking love Rocky.
Yeah.
I love Captain America. I love Spider-Man. I love Batman. All of them share that same trait. All of them.
Yeah.
My first introduction into Batman was the animated series. And there's a scene in one of very early on episodes where he's struggling with a phantom that's haunting him, and it's the speech. The famous speech. I am vengeance. I am the night.
Oh yeah.
I am Batman. You know, like the not giving up factor of Batman is the reason why I became such a Batman fan. I liked Superman before Batman.
Yeah.
I mean, what kid didn't? Who didn't
Yeah.
put a towel around their neck and run around their house and jump off the couch to feel their cape blow in the breeze?
I think it was like 1990 Halloween. I got a Batman mask that was off of the 89 movie.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just it went all the way down. It like went down onto like the chest a little
Yeah,
bit. So it was,
like a cowl.
I mean, way more
Yeah.
than, I mean, most masks we had as kids were pretty ghetto. Like this was like, holy shit, this thing's fucking cool. Huge Batman fan
Mm-hmm.
too. There's for me, that's why I don't like the versus idea, because
No.
like I just
And that's the
you may
thing
prefer
is-
one or the other.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you do, like burgers and pizza. Like you don't hate either of them.
No.
You know, but you prefer one over the other.
I do.
So I think it's, for me, it's the same way. I know there's some Batman fans that hate Superman, some Superman fans that hate Batman, but I think those are the minority of people personally.
I fucking love Superman. I'm
Yeah.
going to put that out there on film right now and have it recorded here in 2023. I love Superman.
Yeah.
I love Batman more, but I love Superman
Yeah.
because he stands for everything that I also believe in my core beliefs. Truth, justice, and the American way. You know, that kind of thing. Like, he's a good guy to do the right thing. I just feel sometimes that the Boy Scout can't get all the stuff done that needs to be done, which is why I like the little bit of rogue, dirty cop kind of thing. When you watch Lethal Weapon, who do you like more, Riggs or Murtaugh?
It's been a while since I watched that.
Riggs is Mel Gibson.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm trying to remember. I only remember vague things from it. It's been a while.
It's
I didn't grow up watching it like you did.
I did grow up.
I was the Terminator Arnold kid
Yeah.
growing up, so I didn't see as
Riggs
much
is
Die Hard.
Riggs is the lethal weapon. He's the wild man, you know, that kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
But he's
yeah.
also the kind of guy that puts a guy through a window to get him to admit where the drugs are, where the kidnapped girl is.
Yeah, that's right. That's
And
right.
then he gets in trouble with his sergeant kind of thing. that's Batman.
Yeah.
That's Batman. That's what Batman is that.
Yeah.
He's the guy that's going to get it done, you know, like, and he's on the street and everything like that. But then there's one core element of Batman that gets missed by a lot of fans that don't dive into Batman deeply. Is find me a time when Batman treats a kid wrong.
Yeah,
aside from the Flash scene that was cut, obviously we talked about earlier.
Well, even the movies have delved into that a bit.
Mm-hmm.
There was the Gordon's kid in the Dark Knight trilogy, and then there was the kid in the Batman. His dad was Mayor's kid, right? That was killed.
Yep. There's famous scenes of Batman in Justice League comics where Wonder Woman and Superman are talking to the parents over here about who mugged you and who attacked you, who stabbed your husband. Where's Batman? Is he collecting evidence? No. Is he with the cops? No. Is he with the dad that got stabbed? No. You know where he is? He's down on the ground holding the little girl, giving her a sucker, distracting her from what just happened to her father.
Yeah, because he ultimately knows what that looks like.
Yes, he knows how that feels, and that connection to children, which is why he has the need to bring in Robins. People joke about the Robins like, oh, he loves young boys. Like, no. He knows what it's like to be an orphan.
Yeah.
You know, he went through that, and instead of becoming a monster, he embraced the darkness that he felt and tries to do good.
Yeah.
And he tries to help people the best way he can. There's so many times where people are like, well, Batman could just do something as Bruce Wayne and spend his billions. You realize in almost every single iteration of Batman he does, there's a Bruce Wayne foundation in the comics in one comic run that are giving out like 100 college scholarships to Gotham underprivileged kids a year. 100 full tuition scholarships. Like, that's not cheap. Like he does everything he can for the community within his means. The problem is there's a lot of bad people corrupting Gotham that make it hard for even a rich person to do something.
Yeah.
And
well, you even see that in the Batman, right?
Yes,
like
you do.
The Wayne money ends up finding out it was paying for all the crime, basically. Which that's just a delicious irony to put that character in that spot to find out, like, all your dad's like money like is funding these criminals.
All the good that your dad wanted to do, the thing that Thomas instilled in Bruce that you don't see in very many iterations. Go watch the Arkham Knight reveal trailer where it's Thomas and a letter to Bruce talking about be good, be strong, stand, son, stand for the good and everything like that. That's who Bruce is. That's who Batman is. That's who he became. And so that's the real, like, the trait about Batman is never giving up and standing up for the people, the good people.
Yeah.
And Superman has that too. I just don't feel like he gets to that minutia of level. I feel like he saves the pretty girl, winks at her, and flies away. You know, kind of thing.
And it's interesting you'd say that, because I would say almost like for me, it's almost the exact same thing. Like, some of my favorite Superman moments is like when he's in the middle of stopping a bank robbery and he stops to help a little girl get her cat out of a tree, or you know, the suicidal teenager that's on the side of the building, and he shows up behind her and says, hey, your therapist really did get in a car accident. Like, she wasn't just pushing you off, like, you know, and he's stopping this girl from committing suicide. Like, he does, like, to me, like, and like, that's like, and I will say I haven't watched the Snyder cut of the Justice League, but the thing I loved about the Justice League in theaters was that first scene when he's talking to the kids with their little camera and their podcast and stuff. It's like, because that's what Man of Steel never did. Like,
that was if my memory serves, that's a Joss Whedon.
Yeah, and that's like, that's one of the best. That's the first time I saw Henry Cavill.
If I remember right, I might be wrong about that, guys. I'm sorry if I am.
That's the first time I saw Henry Cavill play what I understand as Superman. Is like, he's not dark and moody and broody. Like, he is an optimist, and I always love like him going out of his way to help like just random people. Like I said, and because of his speed and his abilities, like, he can do that in the middle of, like, you know, these bank robbers are doing this thing, and he's like, all right, well, oh shit, kid's got his cat in a tree, let me go help. Like, he'll just stop and help because he, you know. So I love that that same ability where he's just, it is reaching out to the I don't know, the
community.
Like, ultimately what it comes down to is he's Superman is everyone's friend. There's a good quote from Christopher Reeve. I don't have it in front of me, but that's what he basically says is ultimately it comes down to is like Superman is everyone's friend. Like he is going to help. He'll be there for you. He'll inspire you. He'll forgive you. Like that's what he's about.
That's what Mike was saying earlier, is that no matter what Batman does, Superman would find a way to forgive him because they're friends.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of the thing I'm fond of with Superman is when he is like, because I think people get this thought that like it's kind of the Batman vibe where it's just like, oh well, what are the chances I'd ever see Superman? But he and he can't save everyone, obviously.
No.
But like it just feels like anytime he's given an opportunity that he has a chance, like he's going to do it. Whether and like that's why I love like the more modern writers. Say it's like truth, justice, and for a better tomorrow. Like because it's like Superman belongs to the world.
I like that better.
Yeah, it's so much better.
I like that so much better
because he's not for America, he's for the world, right? And he saves
when
people.
he was introduced, it was all about America, right? But now it's truth, justice, and for a better tomorrow. Oh, I love that.
Yeah, there's some different variations on it, but that
should be under your Superman tattoo, where you have the logo, truth, justice, and for a better tomorrow.
Yeah, like there's
like a banner.
Yeah, that's like I guess the thing I love about the character is like he is ultimately a friend, and he's not above anyone. He's not like he could be and should be, and maybe if you could even think of it that way. You look at like Homelander, and it's like, and I like Homelander is just Superman, but he's not a good person. Like that's the only difference. Like that, and it's like, but Superman is a good person. That's the thing. That's the crucial thing. And I almost think that like people talk about he's overpowered. He's got all these abilities, but it's like to me his ultimate ability is his goodness. Like
is that he cares.
That's the superpower. Like that's way more critical than his flying or laser eyes, whatever. It's like it's the fact that he's a good person. Like that's
it's heat vision, not laser eyes.
It's Smallville. That's what defines him as a character. And I guess like I said, I knew this would try to transition to that topic, but like I would just go. The last step to just saying is like ultimately it comes down to is the way I view it is Superman is optimism and Batman's got pessimism, and I've never been a pessimistic fan. I'm an optimist. I generally am that way. You've probably seen it over the years. Like if there's something that goes wrong, like I tend to probably try to find a way that it's maybe thinking the best of like, oh well, so and so did this. Like, well, I think like, well, maybe something, whatever. Like, I don't feel like I'm ever like, that fucking piece of shit. Like
and the thing is, I've worked with Tad for years. Like we worked together at several different jobs over the years, and we're currently working together. Tad is in a role where things go wrong, and people come to him and go, "Why the fuck did this happen?" I've never ever seen you go, "Well, it's this fucking guy and that fucking guy," and it's. Hey, let's figure this out. The Superman kind of answers is how you respond. That actually makes a lot of sense that you say that.
Yeah.
Is that I've even come to you with issues. Hey, I can't record this weekend. This is going on. And what I always get back from you is, all right, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
How can we, when I told the story on the other podcast that we do, during COVID, we thought that I got sick. Tad's answer was to drive over to my house and give me a microphone to be able to record separately. He still wanted to record and everything like that, but he understood that I shouldn't be in the room with him, and he still wanted to do the right thing.
Yeah.
It's not just this fucking guy's flaking out on me. He's never had that mentality with me, and I have a family. I have a kid, and sometimes life happens and everything like that. He's always been accommodating to me. He absolutely acts that way in real life.
And I can't say that applies to everything, because
No.
I look at some other fandoms, things like, Vader or Magneto or some of these other characters I absolutely fucking adore. They're not necessarily positive, but it's just like there's just something about Superman when it comes down to it. They're like I don't know. This is a world full of pessimists,
Yes.
and Superman is a breath of fresh air because he is not that. Like he is the opposite of that.
Yeah.
And I think that there's also an aspirational element. Like I said, his goodness is his almost his biggest superpower. And it's like you want to aspire. Like if you were looking at your kid, do you want your kid to be Superman or Batman? Like you may like Batman. There may be like parts of you that's like, I'd love to be Batman in ways, but it's like if it really came down to it, I think most of us would rather ourselves or our loved ones would rather be Superman. Like
I'm going to answer your question seriously. First, I'm going to make a joke, is that no parent should ever say that they want their kid to be Batman, because that's just basically committing suicide. But no, No, you're wholeheartedly right. I want my kid to have a hope for the future and stuff like that. And one of the things is that I don't want to give the image that Batman doesn't have that hope.
No,
he
sir,
is just
he has,
he is just more of a pessimist about
Yeah,
it because
yeah.
he always has the Dark Knight did it beautifully with Christopher Nolan. The people of this city just showed you that we're good, and that on down deep we're good, you know, and everything like that. That's a really good way of Batman showing his true colors. Is that he does have that hope, but he also has seen a lot more shit than Superman has. Per se,
on the pantheon of optimist versus pessimist, he's not on the Superman end of the scale.
No,
but he's also not all the way down to like Punisher level.
No,
of pessimism.
Everything sucks. Everyone deserves to die. No, he's not that. But that's what makes Batman compelling, is because he's towing that line.
Yeah,
and there's the line in the animated show, the animated movie, Batman Under the Red Hood. It's where Jason Todd is Red Hood. Spoiler alert for a character, that's been that for 20, 30 years now. But he has the line where Red Hood has Joker hostage and Batman comes in to kick his ass, and he's like, I can understand, moving on and getting another Robin, but how did you not kill this piece of shit?
Yeah.
The second that he took me from you. Like, how did you not? And then Batman's just like, I can't cross that line. He's like, why? Because your damn line is just it'd be too hard to everything. Is like, no, it's too damn easy. It'd be too easy to become him. It's too easy to cross that line and never come back and just start slaughtering people.
Yeah.
That's why Batman is so fascinating for me. Superman's not anywhere near that fucking line.
No, and every time they do like
why,
an alternate thing like Injustice, I hate it. It's just stupid. It's like
that Superman. You're saying that Superman's going to go from let's see if my hand's in screen. Hang on one sec. See if Superman's going to go from here all the way over, where Batman is that far from the line. He's so much closer to that line. He toes that line, which to me it gives it more drama, more intrigue, than Superman. That's why I say when I trash Superman, it's like, of course he's going to win. He's Superman. He's the Boy Scout. He has all the powers. Of course he's going to come out on top, But Batman, is he going to break? Is he going to cross that line? Granted, has he ever?
Yeah.
In almost 90 years, has he ever? No.
Yeah.
But
except for when the fans are voting.
Except for when the fans are voting. Batman didn't kill Jason Todd, thank you.
No, but I'm just saying that the Batman winning. Batman doesn't know. Batman loses when the fans vote.
Batman loses a lot, and that's what I'm talking about. Is like there is a little bit more intrigue there for me.
Yeah.
No, I know Superman loses, and everything, and Injustice is obviously one where Superman loses, and he loses everything.
Yeah.
So I guess I could see why Superman would snap, but still, it's kind of.
But I'm not into that because I still don't, even all that given, I still don't believe that would happen. So I'm not a fan of that alternate universe because it's just it doesn't seem like real. I guess it doesn't fit. So I guess ultimately I don't know. Does that feel like a good explanation as to why we're both where we're at? Because I mean it does for me, but that's what it comes down to for me, I think. And I think that's why I'm always been a big Star Wars fan too, is Lucas looked at everything was so gray hat and cynical in the 60s and 70s. Everything was Dirty Harry, everything was like the gray hat type stuff.
Is Dirty Harry a good cop or a bad cop?
Yeah, and Lucas was just like, what if we just did a fucking fairy tale?
Where's my good guys and bad guys?
Yeah, what if it was just this dude with a captured princess and a scout? Like he made a fairy tale, and it's like that's what's so. And I think that's where sometimes I get frustrated with some of these non-Lucas people that are trying to do Star Wars, is they tend to miss that, and it's like it's not.
And they try to drag those characters down to being gray hats instead of being white or black hats.
Yeah, and
you have your scoundrel Han Solo who started out the film and you're like, oh, is he gray? But by the end of the film, no, he's a white hat.
Yeah,
he does the right thing.
Yeah,
know it's a question.
Yeah,
but
yeah, and I think that's why I've always loved Star Wars. Is because not that I even knew that at that young of an age, but I do think that was something, because I feel like it's just cyclical, and it's like in the 80s, and there was a little bit of like optimism because Star Wars was so successful. People tried to start to do like more white hat, black hat stuff.
Yes,
but then it started getting to cynical into the 90s again.
It's a cycle.
So it's like when I am a coming of age, it's like there's a lot of just gray hat shit again, and it was just like, not that I could have defined it because I was too young, but it's like there was something that drew me to Star Wars, and I think that really comes down to that, like, optimism.
Well, it's also one of the reasons, if you want to be like a perfect example of Tad's young life, is Terminator.
Yeah.
You have one program to do protection, and you have one program to terminate.
Yeah.
That's white hat, black hat.
Yeah.
There is no gray hats in Terminator. There's good guys and there's bad guys.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. And I know some people can say that, oh, well, that's not as interesting as gray hats, and I kind of understand that. But if all you have is gray hats. If it's only gray hats, and the white hats and black hats become a breath of fresh air.
Exactly.
Because I do.
Well, it's the same thing. The same can be said the other way. We've talked about this before, is that sometimes a character is more compelling if they're not just a white hat or a black hat. But not every single character.
Don't
overcorrect,
right? Like that, because I think that's even what the 60s and 70s, where that came from,
well,
is that everything before that, everything was like John Wayne, white hat, black hat, where it's like people are so tired of that's what filmmakers in the 60s and 70s started doing, is like, let's go middle of the ground. Let's start blurring the lines. And it is cyclical.
You see movies like The Godfather. Are they bad guys?
Yeah,
they're bad guys, right? But I kind of like them, kind of thing.
But you see the head of this crime family playing with his grandkid in the backyard. Like,
how can he be a bad guy?
People are just like, wait, what? Like, people couldn't reconcile that in the 70s.
Before that, all you had was mustache twirling. I take your money.
Yeah, pulling out a Tommy gun and hosing down a school bus or something.
This is my Tommy gun.
Yeah, just
exactly
ridiculous stuff.
But like the thing also is like, there is a place for white hats and black hats, because like, I'll use a perfect example for you. Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah.
Okay, so give me Silence of the Lambs, where you make that character compelling and, he has a tragic backstory. No, dude's a fucking monster who eats the rude.
Yeah.
He eats people he thinks are rude. That's a black hat. Why is he so compelling? Because he's bad. Why is Buffalo Bill so compelling? Because he's bad.
Well, yeah.
Like, there is no gray hat in Silence of the Lambs, which is why it's such a great movie.
Yeah.
But there are times where that is compelling.
Oh, I mean, for sure. I mean, like Breaking Bad,
yes.
I think it would be a gray hat, and like.
But it's also the Breaking Bad conversation is going to happen, where it's the transition with Jesse and Walt, where it's like, they cross paths as they go in the opposite direction. So.
Yeah.
Mike has one final question in the chat. He says, final question for both Batman and Superman. Does the character live on forever, or do they die for what they believe in?
So we talking in universe then? Is that?
I mean,
what I'm viewing?
I read the whole question,
yeah.
So.
I mean, you could start, because I mean, one of my favorite things, I think it was in Action Comics 1000, was the end of the planet. The sun is going supernova, and it was like a giant book, so there was a lot of things. It was basically like a Stephen King short story collection. There was just a massive fucking huge collector's thing, and there was just a bunch of different short snip to show you different things, and one of them was the sun's about to go nova and wipe the planet out, and it's Clark going back to say goodbye to Ma and Pa Kent's graves, and this is like thousands of years in the future, obviously tens of thousands probably, and it's like, and I think he's taken Lois and like gotten her like some mystical thing to make her like live forever too, but it's just like, so if you get into the realm of if it's in universe, Superman doesn't ever really end. Like he's gonna outlive the planet, because it's Krypton type.
And that's
thing.
the question: is do you think that they die for what they believe in? The whole doomsday, Superman dies protecting Earth. Do you believe that should ever be the way he goes, or do you think he should live on?
Oh, I think that, like, I can see. I mean, that's the thing, is comic book characters never die, but I think
exactly.
If it came down to like, whereas like, hey, all comic books are going to cease existing.
How do you want Superman to go out?
I think that I still would say, I don't know. I mean, not that I'm opposed to the death of Superman, but I think I would leave Superman out on a note of like, he's still out there. Even if comic books were all going to end and you never see another one again, I think I'd go that route, because I think that fits the character. Like the idea of him dying is just, like, again, I know the death of Superman exists. I'm not even trying to trash that.
Yeah.
I'm over it in the movies, because it feels like everyone just keeps going back to that. But I'm not opposed to the storyline.
Is it the best Superman story? Is that why they keep going back to it?
No, it was popular as fuck. It was one of the best selling, but it was also like, it was making,
which is
it
their
was,
version is best because that
Yeah.
translates dollars to them, right?
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, they made it was front page headlines
Yeah.
of like major newspapers and stuff back
Like
in
the
the
New
90s.
York
like-
Times and shit
oh
like
yeah,
that.
it was
Yeah.
like a big fucking deal. Because again, you had multi generations that grew up reading Superman, and suddenly you're saying you're going to kill him. Like
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't just like a bunch of kids sitting outside a comic book store. It was like, oh, their dads and grandpas as well that also.
Mm-hmm.
You know, maybe their grandpa fought in World War II reading Superman comics. Like,
Yeah.
so it was like beyond.
It's a
the normal-
generational thing.
Yeah, it was beyond the normal pop culture stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't hate the death of Superman overall, but I think that if it were to come down to an end, I like the idea of more of an open end for Superman.
Okay.
Personally, not that he wouldn't die for what he
Yeah.
believes in, but I just don't think that is the choice I would make for the character if it were
Sure.
me.
I would go the exact opposite for Superman. I think laying down his life and sacrificing himself to save Earth is the exact way that Superman would go out. For Batman, I think that he outlives everyone close to him and he suffers in silence alone, all by himself in Wayne Manor, and then eventually withers and dies. So,
Yeah.
kind of neither for Batman. Because, like, Batman dying and getting unmasked as Bruce Wayne, the only way Bruce Wayne should ever be unmasked is alive.
His death
Is alive.
Oh,
I don't think that he should ever be unmasked dead. It loses everything. Like the game.
so
Gotham,
like the Dark Knight Rises, because that's essentially in death, right? He's going
Yeah.
out to his death, or quote unquote.
Does anyone know except for Gordon though?
No, but that's when he reveals it, right? It's like, hey, I'm about to fly this nuclear bomb out and
Yeah.
die, like, and then he gives the little line which I love that line, by the way.
To Gordon.
Yeah.
You were kind to an 8-year-old kid, kind of thing. But like Gotham Knights is a video game that came out this year, and it's Batgirl, Red Hood, Nightwing, and Robin. The four of them.
Oh yeah, they did that in the comics too.
Dealing
Didn't they?
with-
Where it's like an alternate universe where Batman died. Now what happens?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I don't like that as much because it's like, oh, it's Bruce. Well, fuck. Gee, I wonder who fucking Robin is. Like, you're gonna keep that a fucking secret for long. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. He's adopted 3 boys and there's been 3 Robins. Like, it doesn't take a fucking rocket scientist to figure that out.
Yeah.
But I think them dying, Batgirl dying, Gordon dying, Catwoman dying, or his love interest is dying, Alfred dying, leaving Bruce alone. I think that's the way Bruce.
That's
goes
something I wish they would have touched on a little bit more in the Flash. Like, just give me a line about Alfred. I mean,
out. Yeah, where'd he go?
I mean, I get it. Batman's like 70 something. So there's no way Alfred would still be alive.
I know, but what happened?
Still, it's like, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um.
I think that's the way for Batman. I don't think that he lays down his life or sacrifices himself. In the end, I don't think that fits him and his character. Is like, Batman sacrificed himself to save the Earth. It's like, that's more of a Superman kind of thing,
Yeah,
right?
and again, I'm not even opposed to that. I guess I just don't like the idea of Superman.
No, I get it.
Yeah,
No, I get it.
I like that. Even if it was going to be a final end, I like the idea of him.
I'm not gonna lie.
Existing.
Not gonna lie. That's how I had my notion when I read this question a few minutes ago from Mike. That's. I'm speaking what I had thinking about that when I first read the question. I like your way better. I do. The Earth is good. We're becoming Star Trek. Everyone's under one federation. Everything's happy and go lucky. There's no need for Superman.
Yeah.
And so he's like, you know what? I don't have anything here anymore. My family's all gone. Lois is gone. Ma and Pa Kent are gone. Or maybe Lois is immortal, like you said in that iteration, and it's time
Yeah.
to go explore the universe.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah, and that's what it was. Is she was like involved in some agency at like this galactic government level.
Yeah.
But he was just going back to say goodbye to Ma and Pa Kent because the Earth is
Of
going to be
course.
consumed by the sun in the next like
Gotta say bye to Ma and Pa.
4 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just so it's kind of cool because it's like I think it alludes to like Batman in some way too, where
Mm-hmm.
it's like I think he mentions Bruce or something. He's just talking to the gravestones. And
Yeah.
it was just like again, it was just a small little, probably a page and a half or so. It was
Yeah.
not long, but it was just cool because it's like. Cool, 10,000 or whatever it is that the sun's going to go
Yeah.
boom or pop or whatever. It's just a cool concept that like Superman's still looks the same and
Yeah.
still doing his thing. So.
Which is what he would be, you know?
Yeah. So I will admit, I did not remember to change the slide for the last thing.
Oh.
So the next time on is incorrect. I just realized as we were talking earlier. So
Oh, you didn't change it?
no,
So you want me just to say it?
Yeah, so let's hit the emails real quick, and then we'll just have you announce it without a slide for next week's episode,
Okay.
number 14?
Not next week.
Or 2 weeks, yeah.
in a fortnight. How dare you?
Indeed.
Shame on you, Ted. Shame on you. You had a chance to use Fortnite and didn't.
Yeah, it's true. But yes, let's do the emails real quick. If you have any feedback, if you have any show ideas, whatever it is, email either of us directly. It's either peter@geekeryabides.com or Tad, T-A-D-D, at geekeryabides.com. We will be back in a couple weeks, but if you have any feedback, like I said, show ideas, maybe you have a take on it. Maybe you're a fan of either of these two. Maybe you have further questions. I'm sure we're going to be cycling.
Mike had some great questions here in the chat.
Yeah.
If you have anything else that you want to shoot our way, send it over to us.
Yeah.
Send it to me since I'm taking the next episode, or if you don't get it in time, send it to Tad for the episode after that.
Yeah.
I do the evens, he does the odds.
And I usually always do the news as well. If there's something that happens news-wise that we don't cover, usually it's probably because it isn't necessarily our bag.
Yeah.
But if there is something you want to send in, you can do that.
Absolutely.
Generally send it my direction if it's news, because I tend to cover that because not the Peter's head in the sand. That's the other show. But I think I'm definitely way more plugged into the stuff than
you are.
Than you generally are.
I think I said it earlier that I get like 90% of my news from you. So.
Yeah. But yeah, let's. I don't have a slide, so why don't you tell us about episode 14 coming in a fortnight?
We're gonna dive into X-Men. And the thing is that there's a huge debate that needs to be had with X-Men. And I feel like that can't happen until we talk about X-Men first. I can't just go diving into a huge debate on a topic that we haven't covered in depth. So
I wonder what the soundbite will be for X-Men.
I think we need to talk about some X-Men, how we came to them, how we liked it. Exactly kind of like this one here is that.
But we both do share X-Men.
We do share a love for X-Men. So it's kind of a universal thing for both of us. And I think there's going to be a couple other things that I'm cooking up. I literally just picked this topic today. So what all is going to be on there? I don't know. Tune in next time to find out.
What do you think the sound might be? I couldn't imagine what it might.
No, your soundbite needs to be the claws. Shing!
I mean, I don't know. That's giving a lot of credit to one character of the entire X-Men pantheon.
Most recognizable mutant?
Oh, yeah.
Most popular mutant?
Yeah, like if Batman and Superman is on the DC side, nowhere near the level because Marvel, it just, again, they don't have the same cachet as Batman and Superman. But the top two for Marvel are Spider-Man and Wolverine.
Yeah.
I've heard that even from like comic writers. So like if we had a struggling line, we just guest star Wolverine and we'd get X number of sales, like a sales boost or whatever.
Yep.
So it's like, and then Spider-Man, like for the longest time, that was the logo, was the Spider-Man face logo with the Marvel, like that. Like, it's those two. But obviously those two are nowhere near Batman and Superman when it comes to popularity.
No.
Which is crazy though, because it's been it was 1960s. I mean, I know that's 30 years less than we're talking for Batman and Superman, but it's like, we're at a point now where X-Men, Marvel, core Marvel has been around for a long time now. I wonder if they're ever going to even be able to get close to what Superman and Batman are, or if it's always going to be kind of a, they have such a head start, you're just never going to.
We'll see.
Because I think Superman and Batman are almost like American, like, icons, right? They're beyond, like, they're not comic book characters. They're like the same as, like, who's the dude that rode the tornado? His fucking lasso, like urban legend, or not urban legends, but like Tall Tales.
I want to say Billy the Kid, but that's not right.
No, he's the real cowboy. Yeah, but like those kind of things, like it's almost part of like the American myth.
John Henry is the one that did like the
with the hammer.
The hammer.
Yeah,
Paul Bunyan with the axe.
Yeah. There's all those kind of things. Like they're part of the American mythology, and I just don't know if Marvel.
Pecos Bill.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah,
Pecos Bill. Paul Bunyan, John Henry, those kind of American legends.
Yeah,
Batman and Superman.
It's Batman and Superman to me, I think. So I think it's good. It was a fun episode. I'm glad we're talking comics again because I do love comics.
Yeah.
But we will. Let's see. Okay. We will sign off. I think. Yeah, we're at time now.
A little bit over, making up for our late start. So
we started a couple minutes late,
Yeah,
so that works out. All right, so we will sign off as we always do by saying, love what you love, to hell with anyone that gives you shit on it, and never say the words guilty pleasure.
Let your geek flag fly.
That's that too.
That
all of it.
All of it.
It's all part of the bag. So we'll see you in a couple weeks, in a fortnight, for X-Men.
I'm Batman.
All right, see you guys.
Bye.
All right, everyone in the chat, thank you all for joining us. We will be back in a fortnight for X-Men. Thanks for all the chatting and being part of the show. We appreciate you guys a ton, and can't wait to talk some X-Men. I know I should have asked this on the actual episode of the podcast, but is the Magneto debate not next time,
No.
right? Okay,
No.
we're just talking X-Men.
I can't have a huge debate without having a talk about the topic first.
All right, just making sure.
Yeah.
All right, see you guys.
Sorry,